Live, baby. Let's get it. Oh, let's get it. Let's get it. And we are bang ready to rock and roll. Hey guys, how you going? To the Down Big Ass Sport. We're going to be doing our official preview today of the entire World Cup. So if you have been watching the last 4 days, obviously, we've been going through each group individually. We went through Group A, went through Group B, C, and D, and gave our predictions in regards to the groups. But I didn't actually give you any predictions or previews, realistically, about where I see these teams actually coming overall. Because the group stage is just effectively the beginning. Then we got the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and then the World Cup final. There is obviously a lot of people who would be confused about how the finals can work out, how it's obviously Pool A versus Pool D, and Pool B versus Pool C, not Pool A versus B and C versus D, like a lot of people do think. It's not like that. So we'll go over that today, and obviously be talking about each individual team, talking to you guys in the chat, obviously, and see what you guys are saying. But this is what we're going to be using today, guys. If you obviously have been around the channel for a bit, you know that we do these tier rankings here. Let me just make sure that it looks alright. We'll move it across a little bit, actually. We'll move it across, and then let me just make sure of something here. We're going to actually do something like this. And then I just want to check over here. Okay, that's fine. All right, sweet. So that's all good to go. I don't know why that didn't work just then, but it's working now. Which is, oh no, I know what's happened. I know what's happened actually. I'm gonna have to get rid of that. Well, hold on one second here, guys. I'm gonna have to get rid of that because I've just made a bit of a mistake there. Because I know the reason why is because I'm going to be moving this over to like there, so then everything is seen perfectly. But yeah, anyway, so you get the gist of kind of what we're going to be doing today. We do have... Actually, let's just show you right straight away. So we've got champion contenders, obviously. We've got just off the mark, competitive but won't win, emerging nation, and get ready for a slapping. There will be teams in each and every single one of these tiers here, and we'll be going through each team and what our thoughts are going into, obviously, the finals. But guys, obviously, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. If you're just tuning in after this has been live, we're currently live, but there'll be timestamps of each individual team at the end of it, and then you guys can go and look at, obviously, which team necessarily you are individually looking for. But let's get to the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying. Trying to Gamer says, hi, hello, mate, how you doing? He's getting around New Zealand. Get watch some of your mouses. G'day, Mr. Streamer. Hello, champions. Zane Tipping Kick says Australia. Sabah Naeem says, hey, hello, Sabah. Jackie Halafia says, Samoa have the best wingers in the NRL. They have some very good wingers. You're absolutely right. Samoa do have some very solid wingers, but with that being said, so do Australia, so do New Zealand, so do... who else has some pretty good wingers there? Siona Katoa. Oh, no, Siona Katoa's at Tonga, absolutely. Yeah, look, there's a lot of teams that have great wingers in Fiji, too. Marcus Sivo and Mikhail Ravalawa will be their wingers, so, yeah, okay, they've got great wingers there at Samoa. But Australia, I don't know about England necessarily. I know they've got Dom Young, but in the same sense, they went up against a really weak Fiji side, so I am still concerned about, I guess, what that will happen when it goes up against the big teams. So I will hesitantly be rating England here today. Beesman says, how chat. TW says, howdy chat. Tasman says, greeting the champion contenders. Oh, dearie me. Dearie me. Well, let's get into it here, guys. So let's get into it. We'll probably be here for a good hour, but you just shoot through whatever you have to say, whatever you want to say. Like I said, hit that thumbs up button. On our way to 20,000 now. We're super close to 20,000, less than 200 away. So yeah, hit that subscribe button. Big Papa says, would like to see Samoa or Tonga win, but this is Australia's World Cup to lose, in my opinion. It always is, though, man. Realistically, it always is. But the first team here that obviously we've got to talk about is the Kangaroos. Now, if you don't think they're a champion contender, you're just being a little bit silly, to be honest with you. They have won every single World Cup, barring one, which was to New Zealand in 2008. That was the Billy Slater game. The Kangaroos are fantastic. They're well built. They've got a lot of depth. They've got a really good conundrum in regards to their halfback, of whether it be Cherry Evans or Cleary. Like, that's a good conundrum to have. It's a good difficulty thought process to have. And we're going to be seeing one of those two guys obviously get it, but the guy who loses out also should effectively get it. They're just that good. Their spine's fantastic, their forwards are fantastic, their backline's great, and they've got the foundations that are already built to win this World Cup. So, of course, we're going to put Australia there, and they are going to be on top as well. This will be in order of where I will effectively rank these teams. Yes, they're going to be in their individual sections. However, with that, I'm also going to be giving you my ranking individually of where they'll be. So the lower they are, obviously the further down they go. Jackie Alafis, what day is the first game? First game's this Sunday. Jacob Ratareri says Oz New Zealand champion. Well, that doesn't make sense. That's two teams there. You can only have the one team. And also says Australia has a crazy level of depth. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why every time when people are like, oh, they're losing players to Samoa, they're losing players to Tonga, they're losing players to here and there, they're going down. It's like, No, they're not. They're not going down at all. Half the players that did go to Samoa and Tonga and whatnot are players that wouldn't have gotten a start. Yes, maybe Paulo. Yes, maybe Josh Papali'i, but I don't actually think Josh Papali'i would have got it this time round. I think he's aging. Obviously, Suwali was maybe a shout. The only guaranteed 100% was Brian To'o, because Jerome Luau wouldn't have got it. Brian To'o would have actually 100% been the winger alongside Josh Adokar there, but instead, obviously, Josh Adokar is going to probably be partnering across from Val Holmes, maybe. So you can chuck maybe Jack White into the centres alongside Latrell Mitchell, or you can put Matt Burton in there alongside Latrell Mitchell and still have Val on the wing. The wing depth isn't as deep as the centre depth for me, so that's why I think push Val to the wing. Murray Talangi, he's good for the Cowboys, and I have high hopes for him. But when he played for Queensland, I had my doubts about him. So I'd prefer to see Val Holmes shift to the wing and put Jack White in centre alongside Latrell Mitchell. But if Matt Burton goes there too, I don't really mind. Oh, geez, sorry. Let me just mute this. Let me just mute this little bad boy here right now. Bang, there we go. Mike says, what do you reckon about Samoa versus England? We'll get into that. We'll get into that one in a moment. David Tuapo says, not going to lie, see Cook Island an emerging nation. Yeah, we'll get to that. Actually, we'll go to it now. So the next up here we'll get into is Cook Islands. Now, guys, you've got to realise that when comparing these teams, you have to be realistic. I understand people are going to support Cook Islands. I understand if you're a cookie, you're going to love them, right? But from a non-biased perspective, this team is going to be an emerging nation, right? I don't think they're going to be overall competitive, and they're definitely not just off the mark, and they're definitely not champion contenders for me. I do think that they're better than get ready for a slapping, especially considering I believe they're in the same group as... It's not Greece. It is not Jamaica. Wales, and I think they should get that win over Wales, but it's also tentative, yeah. Cook Islands are a decent team, but they're definitely emerging, and we're starting to see the talent come out of the country, but they've got no halves. They've got their fullback and hooker is still a bit how you going. Their back line is still very how you going, and the forward line is okay. It's probably their best asset, but it still is lacking in a few areas. So emerging nation, it means they're coming through. Maybe one day they'll be up there. Give it 10, 20 years time. Yes, 10, 20 years time, and maybe you'll see this team legitimately start to compete. But as we saw in the mid-season test, Cook Islands got absolutely slapped by a Samoan team that didn't have even half of their players there. And I really do have my doubts about the Cook Islands going into this World Cup. But I would love to see myself being proven wrong. I had them as third in the group previews that I did obviously yesterday for Cook Islands. I have them in third because they've got Wales in their group. But I can't see them being above Papua New Guinea. And I definitely can't see them being above Tonga. So emerging nation is where I'm going to put them. Jackie Huddlefield, there is only one thing that I hate about this year's World Cup is that it's early, as in the morning, and the game goes on when I'm at school. Yes, it will be. Well, you won't be at school yet, unless you're in New Zealand or the islands or whatnot. In Australia, it'll be too early for school. Tiger Stan says, Cook Islands isn't even an actual country, is it? What? Sachin Kellan says, Cook Islands deserves to be there for Isan Muppet alone. Now, if I'm talking about Isan, yeah? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Kind of. Lucas says, Cook Islands is a team... I can't believe someone just said that Cook Islands is not even a country. Cook Islands is a team you want to have a chat to after the game due to a special someone. Yeah, well, exactly right. And if they lose by 50, he'll be just sitting there laughing with all his mates. Rowan Arizora says, you chucking all the cookies from New Zealand and Oz, I'd say they're just off the mark. I'd say they'd still being competitive but won't win, is what I would... I will meet you halfway there, Rowan Arizora. I'd meet you halfway, and I'd say competitive but won't win. Yes, you get the likes of Val Holmes, and there's obviously a few that you can name in the chat that I'll read through and whatnot, but in the same sense, I still feel like that would bump them up a level, but they're still not going to have that. They're going to have the halves problem, the fullback problem, the hooker problem, and overall, it just doesn't click just yet because they haven't had any foundations. There's no foundations built. Australia have a massive foundation built, right? And so did New Zealand. Not as massive as Australia. England are even less than New Zealand there, but there's a reason why these guys are Tier 1 nations. Then you get Tonga, Samoa, and the likes Tier 2 nations. Papua New Guinea isn't even a Tier 2 nation, I don't believe. I think they're Tier 3 potentially. And then you get down to the likes of Cook Islands, Lebanon, and I've got Lebanon probably a little bit above them, but they could be classed as similar. No, I'd say Lebanon's a little bit above them. A little bit above them. Ulila Money says, no way this guy said Cook Islands not a country. I mean, it's a World Cup. That's why I didn't even bother responding to it. I was like, come on, man. How can someone be watching a World Cup and think that there's no countries here? Like, Cook Islands... I wonder if any Cook Islanders watching this and they're just like, what the shit? This guy thought we weren't even a country in a World Cup. Like, bro, we're in the World Cup, and you think what do you think? We've got the buddy country, the city of Brisbane, going to be playing. You think Auckland's going to be here soon? What you mean, man? What do you mean? Zago21, what's that player's name that was about to play for Australia but decided to play for Samoa? There's quite a few of them. Jackie, we'll get into that when we get to Samoa. I think this year will be the first year that Aussie's not going to be in the grand final. That's a wild assumption to make. But then again, they do have to go through New Zealand. It's crazy. I think Australia is becoming underrated, and I find that ridiculous that they are. But I feel like Australia is absolutely becoming underrated, and that's incredible. Like, it's absolutely mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing how many people are underrating Australia right now and saying, I think it's just because you want it, right? I'll say that. I think it's because you want that to happen. Not that you believe it'll happen. The only way you think that'll happen is if they get beat by New Zealand, which is a shout, right? But you could not be confident about it. Australia will absolutely go into that game as favourites. Just want to throw that out there. Australia will go into every game as favourites. They're like $1.30 to win the World Cup. Everyone who keeps saying that Australia is going to tank at this World Cup is absolutely absurd if you look at their team. It makes no sense to me. So I get it, have an opinion, but be realistic as well. You know, you got to be realistic as well, man. But let's move on to the next one here, because we're getting back into Australia. But I guess we'll kind of go back and forth throughout. But the next one here is going to be England. Now, I am not going to put them above Australia, but I think they have to be very low-end champion contenders. I think if this wasn't in England, I'd put them here. If this was not, the World Cup was not in England, I would put them just off the mark at the top, very top of it. But I think because it's in England, I still have my concerns, as I said to you guys just before, about... Even though they beat Fiji, it was a very weakened Fiji side. Yes, there was not as many English players as they would normally have. However, there is still a few concerns going into this World Cup for England. Like I said, I believe you could easily make an argument for just the top of just off the mark, but I am going to put them in champion contenders because it is in England. They are still a good team. They did still put 50 past Fiji in the week. It should be all right. You know, Georgie Williams there. You've got Dom Young playing fantastic. Callum Watkins is all right down the centres. Sammy Tompkins in the fullback. I don't know. I think they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I don't have them winning, though. I really don't. I don't have them winning, but I think they'll definitely be contenders, that's for sure. Tigers fan says, my bad as a country, but when you look up the countries of the world, Cook Island's missing on like half the list. Cook Island's a country, brother. Get watch something Mouse says, England won't win because the best 5'8" that ever did 5'8" isn't playing. Mate, Brimdog Millionaire is not playing this World Cup. He doesn't play for the old England. Luke Hanley says, is this the first time Jamaica has been in the World Cup, and are they here to replace USA? Well, they're not. USA just didn't qualify, and Jamaica did qualify. Yeah, this is the first time Jamaica ever qualified for a World Cup, and we'll see how they go. Peter Shepard says, should be a good competitive World Cup. It should be, absolutely. It really should be. But overall, you know, I still think that we all are more than likely aware who's going to win it, or at least the final's going to be. But yeah, for me, I got England in the champion contenders, and I don't think there's much of an argument about that. But like I said, if you want to make an argument for top just off the mark, I agree. And I think people are reading way too heavily into a warm-up match against a very weakened Fiji side. TW says, young English 5'8", fullback, I forgot his name, has big raps. Fullback. Young English fullback. Who are we talking about here? Because isn't Sammy Tompkins their fullback? Isn't Sammy Tompkins? One second here. England... Rugby League fullback. Who are we talking about here? Most of these guys, England Rugby League, top 5 contenders to be England's fullback for the World Cup. Here we go. So it's got the top 5 here. Played 1 in trial. So there's Sam Tompkins, Stefan Ratchford, Zach Hardacre, Niall Evolds, or Jamie Shaw. Which one are you talking about there? Anthony says Fiji competitive. We'll get to them in a second. I just want to know who this fullback is that TW is talking about. I'm not too sure. Didn't Sammy Tompkins play in that game on the weekend as the fullback? I would have thought that he was going to be. Unless fullback, and then we'll go who they play Fiji. This will come up with their team list from the weekend. This should come up with their team list from the weekend. No, not that one. Dom Young stars on debut. Maybe Rugby League World Cup best 17. So I'm not too sure. You need to let me know, man. You need to let me know. We're going to move on for now, but let me know who you're talking about in regards to that one, because I swear Sammy Tompkins played it. But all right, let's go into the next one here, which is obviously a personal favourite of mine, Fiji. My daughter's Fijian, so I'm always getting around Fiji. for my family and whatnot. Obviously, I still am Australian, but I always would love a bit of Tosoviti action. I'll be in Fiji for this World Cup, actually streaming all the games. If you guys don't know, I'll be streaming literally every single game of this Rugby League World Cup. I'm going to give you a bit of a harsh mark here. I think I'm going to give you a harsh mark, and I'm going to put them here. And that's going to suck, because I actually had high beliefs going into this World Cup beforehand. But I think that the more you look at that warm-up game, the more concerning it is for Fiji. Yes, obviously, they had a lacking amount of players. Like, they had an amount of players, like 7 or something, that were out. But I do doubt that they're going to have the impact necessarily to be massive champion contenders. If you want to argue low end just off the mark, I'm happy for that too. Normally, they would actually be top end of just off the mark, because they've actually made the last 3 semi-finals of the World Cup in a row. But I just don't believe that Fiji this year have necessarily what it is. Sonia Turuva will be the fullback. You've got the halves issue that you've got Brandon Wakeham, who can't even get a spot for an NRL side. He's in the New South Wales Cup. Their 6, we don't know who their 6 is going to be. Is it going to be Modern Drecki, or is it going to be Kevin Aguama? Who are they going to put in the 6 there? The 9, Apisai Kotasau. He's going to have an amazing World Cup for them to be in that just off the mark area. Yes, they've got some great backline players, though, in Ravalawa from the Dragons and Micah Sivo on the other wing there from the Eels. And the centres are pretty fine as well there. And then you go to the forwards, and the forwards are okay. They are. Viliami Kikau comes in, but I just have my doubts about Fiji this time around, and I would love to be proven wrong, because obviously I'll be supporting Fiji, but I have a lot of worries about them in this World Cup. Luke Hanley says, when the World Cup is over, are you going to make a world team where you choose your best 17 from the World Cup? Would be cool. Yeah, I'll do that, man. Yeah. I'll do that. Jack Wellesby, TW says, that's the one. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, Jack Wellesby. He played all right. He played pretty well. Big Papa says, for Fiji, ever Fiji. Their first game is the worst matchup for them, but good thing it'll be easy competitive alpha for them. Well, they're going to get into the top 2. Like, in the group, they've got... Who's the other teams in the group with Australia? They've got, I think, Scotland and Italy, I think. I think it's Italy, Scotland, Fiji, and Australia. Fiji are going to beat Italy, and Fiji are going to whack Scotland. But I think they'll get knocked out straight away when they play New Zealand in that first game of the quarterfinals. Because like I said, guys, Group A plays Group D, and Group B plays Group C. Right? So Australia and New Zealand are destined, no matter what, to, at minimum, face each other in the semi-final, right? Otherwise, if Australia comes second or New Zealand comes second and the opposite comes first, then they'll place in the quarterfinal. But I doubt that'll happen, because New Zealand's in a really easy group, comparatively to like Australia, who's also in an easy group as well, to be completely honest with you. It's tough, but in the same sense, it's only really tough for the likes of Fiji, Italy, and Scotland. Big Sammy, you talking about Sammy Valame? Where was he on the weekend, though? Lucas says, all the island teams are the same, they all miss a spine. Kind of. Samoa's probably got the better, but in the same sense, yeah, the halves. It's not even necessarily the spine, man. The spine's not realistically what we're looking at. It's actually the halfback that most of the time we're missing, and a 6, but specifically the halfback, because you need that guy to direct the players around and get them moving in the right direction, which is what halves are for. But obviously, yeah, Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, Cook Islands, and even New Zealand for a long time were very similar, but New Zealand was still on another level above them. So yeah, it's something that is a key area that really does need to be fixed for these teams. But obviously, like I said, Samoa's probably the best halves combo right now in Milford and Jerome Luai, but overall it's still a bit concerning still as well. But alright, let's move on to the next team here. So we've got Fiji in a controversial pick of competitive but won't win. But next up, we're going to go with France. Now, if we're putting... I think France is going to be very low-end emerging nation or get ready for a slapping. Because France's group is, I think, Pool C, which I believe is Samoa, England, and... No, who is France's group again? Who was France's group again? I can't remember who France's group was. Slapping respectfully, Brighton says. I don't know, I could nearly say lower emerging nation. I don't know if that would be that bad. But then again, Tonga made... Actually, you know what? I am going to do it. I'm going to put them at the high end of get ready for a slapping. And the reason being is because... They played a Tongan team that had a few players out, but also made a lot of errors and did not look great and still conceded 50 to them. They still conceded 50 to Tonga. If they had have played their best Tonga, they would have beaten them by 100. But obviously, they scored 50. They knocked the ball on about 1 billion times. I'm going to have to put them get ready for slapping. I don't mind France. I think they're going to be one of the better teams in this category. But there's got to be someone down here, and I think that they're probably one of the ones we're going to have to put there, yeah. Full-time league says now both are running halves. I meant halves for Samoa, both are running halves, which could work well or go bad for them. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I say it's still concerning for me. It's still concerning for me with those Samoan halves. But yeah, I've got France here. Like I said, I don't believe there'll be any teams above them in this tier. But I could make an argument for lower tier emerging nation. But it's just because of the way they still got beaten quite comprehensively by a team that just did not play well in Tonga. Jasper says France pool A, England, Samoa, and Greece. Ooh, well they'll beat Greece surely. They'll beat Greece surely, I would say. Yeah, especially after Greece drew 34-34 with the Bradford Bulls, who is obviously a Super League team, domestic Super League team there. France, England, Greece, and Samoa. Get my understanding now says France getting ready for a slapping unless PayPal pays the ref. What's going on there? Josh Anderson says, depressing France is so low considering how big league used to be there before a certain something happened. Well, obviously, in regards to, yeah, they used to be like the big team in the 50s and 60s, or 50s and 40s, I think. I think back in the day, they were the really big rugby league. But obviously, Union's taken over, their football's taken over. But in regards to the Union and league, Union has well and truly taken over. So this French sport of rugby league is not going to really grow at the moment because of the fact that there's no funding for it. But then again, they've got Captain's Dragons, they've got Toulouse. They're actually starting to get a little bit more money, I guess. They are starting to get a little bit more into their rugby league. But with France playing so well on an international level rugby union right now, I just can't see that being overtaken. But in the same sense, I know what you're saying. It is depressing to see where they are. Big Papa says, on the flip side, French Union team looks awesome and could actually win next year's World Cup. Yeah, we'll see. They've been in 3 World Cup finals and never actually won one. Tank Lanky says Tonga comes last in Group D. Yeah, pass around the carpet bowl, big fella. Bears Man says France going to get slapped. Jackie Halafia says, what country's the Cedars? That is Lebanon. Full-time league says, wait, Bradford Bulls are in Super League? I thought they were a championship team. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's even worse, mate. That's even worse. I'm Australian, so I know a little bit about, I know enough to kind of have conversate about Super League, but not a great deal. This next year, I'm going to be streaming the Super League games too, so I stream all the NRL games. I'm going to be streaming all the Rugby League World Cup games, and I'm going to try and get myself into a bit more Super League as well, because I hate not knowing, and I've kind of gone into this World Cup lacking a bit of knowledge about some of these Super League players. But yeah, so that's even worse. So Bradford Bulls are in a second division in the championship and drew 34-34 with Greece, which is absolutely ridiculous. Let's get into the next team here. Which is Greece, and there's nowhere else we're putting them besides here. Like I've literally just been saying, they drew 34-34 to the Bradford Bulls, who aren't even in the Super League. They are a second division team. That is wild. And they drew them 34-34. Greece are going to get punched in the mouth by the likes of Samoa and England. Like, Samoa and England are going to punch these guys in the mouth. And knowing island teams, Samoa will not stop. They will not stop, my guys. So, if you're Greek and you're hoping for something big, I'm sorry, but you've got a ways to come before that happens, because you're going to have some scores put past you. I think even France can put a score past you. I do. I really do. Lucas says, France loves the Choco World Cup. They do. Lagan also says, Greek and emerging nation under Cook Islands. No way. No chance. Brighton Roberts says it's a championship team like lower grade. Yes, you got the Super League and then you got the championship. There is no way you're putting Greece into the bottom part of emerging nation when they've just come off a 34-34 draw with a championship team. No way, bro. No way. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. No, not for me. And if they had players out, that's not my problem, man, because the players that they're going to put in there are still just not there yet, man. I think you're underestimating France. Lagan Bolsik says, Ilias will score more tries than Johnston. Here we go. Tank Lanky says, Tonga has no spine. No clubs in the islands do. Mason Freeze says, New Zealand going to whoop all your asses. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, nice. They've got a really good team. We'll get to them in a second. They do. Sasha Kelton said it's going to be a lot of floggings for Greece. Tough World Cup for them. Hopefully they learn something, is what I want to see. Hopefully they learn something. Dasman says Bradford came 9th out of the 14 teams in the championship too. Oh, that is a big yikes. That is a big, big yikes. Bright Roberts says, what's worse, the draw or getting 34 put on them? The fact that you scored 34 points and did not win is what the biggest negative is there. That's what the biggest negative is there. But let's stop shitting on Greece. I don't want to sit here and shit on a team that is doing their best, man. Obviously, we're not expecting them to do well. We'll be in a similar place to them when we're in the FIFA World Cup, I guess, because our group is quite tough. We'll be all right. But let's get to the next team here, and we'll get to Ireland. And I am actually going to put them in emerging nation, but I'm trying to figure out if I put them above Cook Islands or below. I'm actually considering putting them here. I actually am considering putting... You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to give you my opinion, and I am going to put Ireland in emerging nation above the Cook Islands. I don't mind this Ireland team. In I guess, respect to where they are meant to be. They're not going to be a world beater, and they're still going to have scores put on them, but I do think that overall, that this team is okay. They've got Keary there, Luke Keary. They've got Jimmy Jolliffe. They've got a backline. They've got some decent forwards. It's nothing special, but I think that the only reason people would have the Cook Islands above them is because they watch the NRL and they don't look at the Super League, right? And it's got more of an actual team there for me at Ireland. I really do. I really do believe it. I really do believe it. But yeah, I like them. I don't mind them. They're an emerging nation for sure. They're not going to be... If you want to put them here, I'm okay with it too. These guys are in the exact same position for me, but I'm going to give the edge to Ireland because I do feel like they might be able to provide a little bit of spice to what people are considering them to be. Someone said, what league, what group are they in? Ireland are in, I think, New Zealand's group. I think they're New Zealand, Ireland, Lebanon, and... Yes, that's right, because I said that I believe that maybe Ireland could get second. I think everyone's looking at New Zealand and Lebanon, but I honestly think that Ireland could potentially get second. So New Zealand, Ireland, Lebanon, and... was it Scotland? It's not Scotland, is it? I think... No, it's not Scotland. Who is it? Jamaica, New Zealand... Ireland and Lebanon, and I actually think that Ireland could sneak that second spot. I'm crazy, man. I'm crazy. Lag and Ball says, Ireland and Cook Islands more adverse right now. What would you think the score would be? It'd be close to me. I think, like I said, they're both the same team. So if it's in the Southern Hemisphere, you'd probably give it to the Cook Islands. But if it's in the Northern Hemisphere, which is where it is, you'd probably give it to the Irish. Tigers fan says, who are some NRL players for Ireland this year? So I've got a video coming out tomorrow, guys. A video. I'm not streaming tomorrow night. A video at 5:30 p.m. That is a player from each team that you need to look out for in the World Cup. And obviously, it's more than likely going to be Keary for Ireland. I actually haven't filmed the video yet. I'll film it after this. But there's only a couple of NRL players there, but it's not all necessarily about the NRL there. They have some pretty good players in the Super League. Conor McGregor out there for Ireland. Jay says, because that was Fiji's B team, basically they put reserve grade players in to see how they go. Yes, absolutely, Jay. Exactly right. So, with Fiji, this is why I hate that I've put them here, right? Because I want to put them here, right? And I would love to put them there. But what I'm looking at with putting them there is the fact that even though I'm very well aware how many players were out, I don't know how much that would have changed the outcome of the game. It would have made it a less score, but I don't think that Fiji go on to win that game with the likes of Liami Kikau, Swinton Turuva, Ravalawa in his actual position, Apisa Kotasau and the likes. That's where I've got that from. Luke Hanley says, if the Irish get second, he'll be coming straight back saying he told us so. I don't really do that. Well, I will. I will say, like, oh, I called it, but I'm not really the type of muppet who'll go, I told you so. Until the Titans win the comp, and then I told you so. Full-time leagues, Fiji need a spine more than anything. Absolutely. The problem with Fiji is actually their halves. It's not the fullback or the hooker. Their fullback and hooker is actually pretty good. Sunya Turuva is a fantastic fullback, and Apisa Kotasau is a fantastic hooker, one of the best hookers in the game. But their 6 and 7 is where it really gets dicey. Really, really gets dicey. But yes, so there we go. Ireland in the emerging nation. Like I said, I'm happy for you to put them here, but I'm going to put them as the top end right there. All right, next up here is Italy. Now, this is a hard one because Italy aren't what they used to be. They're not the team that they had with Tedesco and Minicello. I'm going to probably put maybe Italy here. I think I might put Italy there. But in the same sense, you still have that feeling they might be similar to what they previously were. Still very similar teams here. I could easily... where do I put Italy? I might actually leave Italy an emerging nation as a lower one. I just don't think... They've been an emerging nation for a while now. They've actually got a bit more of a foundation than a couple of these teams here. You could probably put Italy here. But I do think Ireland will be better. I don't know. This is a hard one. This is a hard one here. I've got them there. Where do I put Italy here? Where do I put Italy here? This is a hard one. Where would you guys put Italy? I think I'd probably put them maybe there. Oh, they're just so, these three teams are all in a very similar situation. Yeah, like more is Italy below both, Italy behind Ireland, so they've got them hit them there. Yeah, look, maybe you might put them here just because they've got a bit more foundation than Cook Islands do. Dab Goose says, I think France would be higher, even though they got pumped by Tonga, they would be better than Ireland overall. I disagree. I think Ireland are better. The only reason I put them here, right, is because of the fact that they still lost by a considerable amount, even though Tonga played one of their worst games I've seen in a long time. Saturn Kells is below Cook Islands. People say middle. Oh man, that's a tough one. Look, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm a little bit more excited about what the Cook Islands can do than Italy, but they could easily prove us wrong, guys, and they could easily put themselves there. They're not going to go here, and I don't think that they'll ever go there, but they're probably... I'm a little bit more excited about some of the players that the Cook Islands have, but then again, that's because I am also a lot more well aware of the NRL than I am of the Super League, which is where most of these players would be from. Riders is in the middle because of their past. What does their past actually mean, though? Like, if you look at their team, you look at the past, and the reason why they played so well is because they had players like Minicello, they had players like James Tedesco. You know, they had some good players back then, but there's not really those kind of players anymore. So I'm going to put them there. I understand if people want to put them a little bit higher, though. But let's move on to the next team here, and they might be the most fun team that we're going to watch here, but they are going straight into the bottom of Get Ready for a Slapping. This team, I think, just need to get it into their minds that they need to just have a good time. I do feel sorry for how it's going to go. I really hope the Kiwis do take it easy on them. I do hope that Lebanon and the Irish don't take it too harsh on them too, because I could easily see Ireland and Lebanon also both beating Jamaica by 60 to 70. And that's Ireland and Lebanon. It's going to be a real tough World Cup here for Jamaica. But like I said, I just hope they're going in with the right mindset that they're not going to win the World Cup. If they want to be competitive, you know, be my guest and believe in yourselves. But you've also got to have an understanding that this is not going to be a fun World Cup for you in regards to being a competitive side. You are going to have a score put past you, and you might actually legitimately go through this entire World Cup and not score a try. They may not score a try. I just want to put that out there for everyone. So, although it will be fun to watch and fun to see a new team there, can't wait to stream it. Good luck. Good luck, Jamaica. Jay from South Vinti says, so random having a Jamaican rugby league team. It is a little bit random, I guess, but in the same sense, it's great to see that there are other countries out there that not many people know about are playing in the Rugby League World Cup and are playing rugby league. You know, there are other teams out there like Norway who have a rugby league team that people don't know about. There is, Germany that has a team. There is Serbia, Russia. You got Chile. You know, these random teams that I think Honduras have a team. There are places around the world that you don't really know about having rugby league, but they do. Jamaica's one of them. Even Greece, to an extent, a lot of people don't know. The fact is that Greece and Jamaica and Wales, Wales makes a bit more sense though, but Greece and Jamaica, it's surprising that they're there and not USA. USA have had a team. USA have had a team, but they didn't qualify. They weren't good enough. Crazy. Malcolm said, I can see New Zealand slap them 80-0. Mate, if New Zealand actually go hard, I could see New Zealand win by a lot more than that. But I don't think I think they will clock off late. And New Zealand will rest players too much in that game. New Zealand will not play their full strength squad for that one and still win by 80 to 100. Dab Goose says most of Jamaica is in the second and third tier English system. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Luke Evans says, Canada got a team? Yes, Canada do have a team. Yes, they do. Brian Robinson says, would be sick if their wingers can run 10 flat and 100. Kane Snow says Brazil have a rugby league team. Brazil do have a rugby league team as well. Absolutely, yeah, they do. They're not terrible. Brazil, I think they're on a similar level to Jamaica. Just didn't qualify this time around. But yeah, in regards to Jamaica as well, they would have had Dom Young. Dom Young was going to play for them, but obviously got selected by England, and that was a big pickup for them. Ryder Manning says Philippines played their game yesterday. Kelsey Haas played. Khalees Haas, you mean? Yeah, Khalees Haas, a good friend of mine. He played, and I don't know, is Kevy G still playing? I don't think Kevy G's playing anymore, is he? Kevin Gordon. I don't think he's still playing, but he plays the Philippines. All right, let's get into the next team here. Jamaica beat USA to qualify. That's crazy. NRL stuff says Dom Young was a big loss for Jamaica. Kind of. Your wingers are only as good as your inside men, right? You're not going to get the ball unless you've got good centers, good halves, good hooker, right? So for me, it's like Dom Young would have been a bit of a waste at Jamaica. So yes, but in the same sense, he doesn't do much. It's actually better for his development that he plays for England. Because one, he'll get noticed more, and two, he's got better inside men. So it's a big loss, I guess, at Jamaica, but it wouldn't have done much at all. All right, so next up here, we have the Lebanon Cedars. Now, this is an interesting team. They've got the likes of Mitchell Moses. In the past, they've had the likes of Robbie Farah. They should have had Alex Twell, but he's injured right now. There's been some really good players over the years that have actually come through Lebanon. This time around, they've got Adam Dewey and Mitchell Moses in the halves, so they've actually got a better halves pairing than most of the islands do. They've got a bit of a lackluster back line and forward line, though. We saw them play against, I think it was Malta, and they really disappointed, but they didn't have a great deal of players that were big-time standard at the time, especially with Moses and Dewey not playing that game. I don't even think Karaz played, Jacob Karaz from the Bulldogs. They're an interesting team. I think they're going to be, for me, below Fiji in this area, though. They're not just off the mark, and I feel like the longer we go here, the more I feel like this is rough, and I should put them right down the below end of just off the mark. But we'll leave them in competitive, but won't win. I think Lebanon are a good team. They will be solid. They're going to have a really good matchup with Ireland, and it will come down to this game with Ireland where these two teams should be. They could actually be in similar levels, I guess, but surely Lebanon will be going as favourites, and surely Lebanon do win, but I have made a bald and ballsy call that Ireland could actually win that game and get second. But yes, competitive, solid, good halves, but also lacking in a lot of areas, and they don't really have a great deal of foundation, and disappointed when they played against a team like Malta. Dad Goose says Lebanon is at least the level of Fiji, I would think. Oh, absolutely. Oh, I'm not putting them down here. No way. I'm not putting Lebanon down there. They're definitely competitive. And I honestly think that I'm being a bit rough here. I should put them up there. But in the same sense, Lebanon, I don't think anyone can argue that Lebanon are a better team than competitive but won't win. And I don't think that anyone could argue that they're any lower. I think this is the perfect tier for them. And I think it's pretty just factual where they would go there. Lucas says they're really gonna miss Twal. Twal is a huge one. Oh, Kraz played fullback, as mate says. Oh, true. Well, he plays centre obviously for the Dogs. That's where I got confused. Ireland should move up. No, I can't be putting Ireland up further. I can't be putting Ireland into the competitive but won't win, especially considering there's still so many question marks about them going into the World Cup. I would love to put them up there, and if they do beat Lebanon, obviously, then maybe you could chuck them into that next level up. But overall, no, you couldn't be guaranteeing me that they should be in competitive but won't win. Justin Sando, the big fella, says love these tier rankings, mate. They're pretty good, mate, and pretty simple as well. We just sit here and chat about the footy and just put them in. It makes it easier for the casual fans of the game to really understand exactly where teams should be kind of finishing there. Tigers fans, if Lebanon makes the finals and even past the first round, it could even get Moses to the Tigers. I don't even know what you're talking about. KJH Sports says, what do you think will be Australia's centres? Oh, Latrell Mitchell and I hope Jack Whiten. But, man, if you want to know my preview, we've done full hour-long previews of each group so far. We did Pool A, we did Pool B, we did Pool C and Pool D. They're all 4 separate videos with timestamps. If you want to go know my opinion on any team in depth, then go to that video, and the timestamp is there for when you can look and see what I was saying about each individual team in a bit more of a long version form of what we're doing right now. Saxon Kelsey's Moses and Karaz will do well, unlike that they lost 12. Random Black Guy says centers for Oz probably Trell, Mitt and Val Holmes. No, Val Holmes goes to the wing for me. Mevedith says, I just saw the weirdest try from Lebanon that was set up by Moses and Farah. Yeah, Moses and Farah played back then together. Moses will be playing Robert Norizori. He will be, yes. Minecraft says Kiwis is last. Muppet. Cat Duck says, how does Dom Peru jump from Cook Islands to Samoa and back to Cook Islands? It's interesting, yeah. Like I said last night, actually, when we previewed the Cook Islands, Dom Peru was actually the first person to buy me a drink when I was 18. Buy me an alcoholic beverage when I was 18. Which was about 10 years ago now, but yeah, it's funny that Dom Peru is still cracking on, because obviously he used to play at the Titans, so I knew him through that. Great bloke, Dom. But yeah, it's obviously that he just didn't get selected for Samoa, so he can now go back to Cook Islands. The eligibility rules around the islands is a lot different to how Australia and New Zealand and England are treated, right? Because they're not tier 1 nations. So Cook Islands, I believe, is tier 3, max tier 4, maybe. They could be tier 4, I don't know, but they're definitely not tier 2, because tier 2 is Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, the likes, and Cook Islands aren't there. But alright, Will Maker says Cook Islands are in between emerging nation and competitive. I disagree. I think they're below Ireland. But in the same sense, this is, like I said, these two teams are in the exact same position. But alright guys, let's move on to the next team. And this is going straight here, bang, in between England and Australia. New Zealand probably have their best team that I've actually seen them ever put out there. Their forwards are the best forwards in the comp, and that's including Australia. New Zealand have the best forward pack in the game right now. I've got Australia as the best backline in the game, and I think the spine of Australia is... It really shits on everybody else. Literally, I think Australia's spine is the best spine across everyone by a country mile, and that includes New Zealand. But New Zealand, their forwards, their depth is just simply surreal going into this World Cup. And then you go to their backline, it's still very, very solid. It's probably the second best backline. Australia and New Zealand will play each other when it comes to semis. I don't see a surprise there. The only other team that could maybe do it is Fiji, but I just don't see them playing too well going into this World Cup that would really put them there. Australia and New Zealand, they're in Pool B and C, and will more than likely miss each other in that first week because Australia and New Zealand will both come first and second respectively, and the second week after they win those games, they'll play each other in the semi. So they can't play each other in the final. You're more than likely going to see Australia and New Zealand on one side versus an England/Samoa/Tonga final, whatnot. But yeah, if you think Kiwis aren't a top team this time around, you're crazy and you're drunk. You're crazy and you're drunk because this team looks really, really good. And I'm an Australian, it's just, it is what it is. You've got to be honest, man. You've got to be honest. I don't want New Zealand to win personally. But the fact of the matter is that they have a really good opportunity to do it. Luke Kelly says, you're 28, you don't look a day older than 20. Well, there you go, man. Well, I did have a shave today. I have a nice little shave today. It just, if you guys are following me on Instagram, well, if you're not yet, follow me, BKR Sport on Instagram. I was saying today that just having a beard is not my kind of deal, man. It's not my kind of deal, so I shaved and I feel fresh. I feel like, buddy, look at me go, my baby. Dab Goose says, best New Zealand team for a very long time. I agree, yeah. I agree. I think they're very similar to the 2018, but I think I'd give an edge to the excitement. But then again, that could also be recency bias. That happens quite a lot. Spanky Price is PNG underrated. Yes, we'll get into them in a second, man. I love PNG. You guys know me. I'm always backing in Papua New Guinea. We all love the old Papua New Guinea. Big Papa says, agreed, alongside Oz, Kiwis are top tier, unlike England, who should be below. So I kind of agree with you, Big Papa. The only reason I said I put England up in that top tier is because of the fact that it is in England. If it wasn't in England, I would definitely put them there. And I could easily still see myself putting them there the longer we go. Because, you know what? We're going to do it. I'm going to put them down. I think that, for me, it's going to take a gigantic effort for one of these two teams to get beaten. I honestly, I struggle to see a world where it's not Australia or New Zealand who win this World Cup. They do look a bit better at just off the mark. They do. It'll be... Yeah. They do look a bit better at just off the mark. So we'll put them there. But you're probably going to find it rough with a couple of these ones coming up soon. Full-time leagues is PNG. Backline is low-key elite. Halves are average. All right, let's get into it. So the next team here is going to be Papua New Guinea. By the way, guys, obviously smack that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up button. It's free. Go down there, make it blue. And subscribe if you're new around here. We are so close. We're about 150 subscribers now off of 20,000. And that is just a massive, because we were less than 10,000 coming into this year. So we've gone over 10,000 in a year. It's been a great year for us. And we've still got a couple of months left of FIFA World Cup, Rugby League World Cup, Cricket World Cup. So hit that subscribe button and get around it. We'll be streaming literally every single game of this World Cup. But for Papua New Guinea, they are really, really underrated. They are a tough team, a very surprising team. They're not going to be champion contenders, and I don't have them just off the mark, but they're in a similar level here with Fiji. I'm actually going to put them there. Yeah, I'm going to put them at the top end of competitive. It won't win. I think PNG, well, they beat Fiji actually as well in the mid-season test when they play each other. Papua New Guinea always seem to beat Fiji, but struggle against other teams. I honestly can see these guys. So they're in a group with... they're in the group, I believe, with Samoa. No, they're not. They're not Samoa's group. They're in Group D with Tonga, Wales, and I can't remember the other team. Tonga, Wales, and who? Who's the other team? I think they're in Tonga, Wales, and whatnot. Anyway, point of matter is that I've got Papua New Guinea as competitive, won't win. They've got a great back line. Xavier Coates on one wing. I think Ngutalik on the other wing. You've got Alex Johnson as the fullback. Justin Olam in the centres alongside... I can't remember who's the other centre there. And Cook Islands. Thank you, full-time league. Yeah, thank you. So I got Papua New Guinea second there. I could honestly see them first. I really could. I could see them knocking off Tonga. I said this last night. I could see our world that they could knock off Tonga. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do see well that game's going to be really, really close. If you want to go understand why I say that, go back to Pool D's reaction yesterday and see what I'm talking about, because PNG, Their spine lacks, but their passion doesn't. And the passion does a lot of the time make up for their lack of talent. The forwards are okay. Love Mackenzie Yeh. Love a couple of the big boppers there. But I think Brandon Nimmo might be playing as well. But their backline really, really is solid. And I look forward to it. Especially Alex Johnson's their fullback. He's probably going to be the top try scorer of all time when it comes to the NRL. But that's the Rabbitohs, obviously. Still is going to have a fantastic time here for Papua New Guinea as World Cup, in my personal opinion. Random Black Guys, imagine if the NRL mixed Tongans, PNG, Fijians and Samoans together making a Pacifica team like Rugby Union. That'd be pretty cool to see, man. It would be. You'll find that they'll mainly be Tongans, Fijians, Samoans, but in the same sense, yes, it'd be pretty cool. I actually don't know what Papua New Guinea will make that team, which just shows how underrated they are, though. Desmond says, I'm an idiot, Cook Islands. You are an idiot. We didn't need you to confirm that. Ronan Zoro says, I reckon Lebanon beats Fiji and PNG. Oh, I don't know about that. I can't agree with that one. Nah, I can't agree with that one. No, I couldn't see it. Especially, honestly, this is so difficult to not put them here. Normally, like I said, I'd put Fiji into the just after mark, but because of the fact that they still have, they really lacking in the halves specifically this time around, I've got him here. But based on talent you see in the NRL, you actually have him here. All right, and based on talent you see in the NRL, you probably have him very lower end just off the mark. But I don't have Lebanon above him, no. No, I don't. Because I honestly think that Ireland could beat out Lebanon in regards to their group. I think Lebanon might miss the quarterfinals. I think it's a crazy thing to say, but I think Ireland may miss it out, and Ireland could get the quarterfinal appearance. Cat Dark says Lebanon almost beat Tonga last time. Brighton Robinson says, safe player in any position, AJ? Absolutely. Tonga loses to PNG. Tank Lane, he says, I could see a world. I know you're a Tonga hater. I've seen your comments throughout this whole thing, but in the same sense, I could see a world. I could see a world. Get Why Something Mouse says, Olam and Coates will make it in the Island team. I don't think so. I don't think so, because Coates, you'll probably have Brian To'o from Samoa, and then Tonga, you've got Daniel Tupou, or you've got Ronaldo Molatalo as well, or you've got... were you including New Zealand here or not? We're just using Pacifica in regards to those teams. Because some of them are Polynesia and some of them are Melanesia, mind you. But I don't think Xavier Coates will make it. Centres-wise, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of all the centres right now. Maybe, actually. Yeah, you might get Justin Olam into the centres. You might get him into the centres. Lucas is Suwali as well. I think Xavier Coates probably makes it over Suwali. Bright Robert says, what did Tonga do to you, Tank Muppet? Yeah, Tank really doesn't like Tonga, right? He really does not like Tonga. I don't get it. Maybe he's Samoan. I reckon he's probably from Samoa. Because he really doesn't like Tonga, XR says, it's crazy how if it was the Warriors, they'd be the bottom, but all the good New Zealand players get poached from Warriors. Yeah, but in the same sense, it's just because... realistically, the Warriors are actually the bottom feeder in general because it's all the good players actually go to the All Blacks and the Rugby Union. They don't actually go to the NRL. Most of the guys in the NRL are, born in Australia who are Kiwi as well, mind you. Full-Time League says, fun fact, Tonga has never beaten PNG in all their previous matches. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, different teams though. Very different teams. But then again, that was back then. I'd be happy to take the $13 odds of PNG to beat Tonga. I think you'd be okay to put $25 on that, or $20 on that. You know what I'm saying? It's just a bit of a throwaway. It may come off. You wouldn't expect it to come off, but 13 to 1 for PNG to beat Tonga is wild for me. David Tulpo says, as a Samoan, no offensive, but we need another number 7. I agree. Yeah, Milford's not to go. This is why I'm still concerned about your situation. But all right, let's go into the next one here, which is Samoa. And I'm going to pretty simply put them here. I'm actually not going to put them above England, which might be a surprise for a lot of you guys. But I've got Samoa there. Now, the reason being is because this is a really hyped team. There is a world where this team completely and utterly fails in this World Cup. I don't think it happens. But then again, I said the same thing about the Roosters going into the NRL season. I said, I'm going to put them second, but I could see a world where they really, really tank it and struggle to make the 8, which is exactly what the Roosters did throughout the season. For me, Samoa will no doubt get into the quarterfinals, but there's a chance that they could end up... well, they're going to come second. They're not probably going to beat England, for me anyway. I can see why people think that Samoa might be above England. If Samoa comes second, they play Tonga in the first game of the quarterfinals. Samoa versus Tonga in a knockout is just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So I'm I think that Jerome Luai and Anthony Milford is where that I do get worried. Their 9 is also a little bit of a struggle. Their fullback is, like they're saying Suali'i, but I don't think so. I think they should have Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow as a fullback, Suali'i on the wing alongside Brian To'o. So at least you have a tall, big winger there. You've got Brian To'o, who's a small, nifty little winger, great defensively. And then you've got Suali'i on the other side, who's tall, put the ball up in the air, and hopefully gets that grab. So, yeah, overall, I think that... sorry, we've still got this dude hating on buddy Tonga. But overall, I think Samoa will be good, but there is a world where they're not as good as we all think. There is a world where it happens. Zed Geese says Samoa is good but no heart. Oh, that's a big call. Why does Samoa not have any heart in comparison? Who's playing fullback? Charlie Staines or someone else? Biggie Shack says. So it will more than likely, it's definitely not going to be Charlie Staines. It'll be either Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow or Suali'i, but I really believe it should be Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow with Suali'i on the other side. Alfred says, Tonga's spine's beating the Kiwis, Great Britain and Australia. Tonga has no spine. Okay, so Alfred, I don't want to do this to you, man, but I do have to put you on blast a little bit here. You beat Australia in an international friendly that no one cares about besides you guys did at the time. Yes, it was a shock, but you've also got to come back down to earth a little bit, man. That was also a different spine. You had Katoni Staggs to your 6. Your spine right now is Amon and... who's the other one? Amon and somebody else. Siliva Havili might be your number 9. You're not guaranteeing it, and then your fullback, I don't know why I can't think of your team right now, but you've got to be a bit more realistic, man. I understand what happened back in 2019, 2018 kind of time. Very different Tonga team, and you just don't. Like, I know you want to believe in your team, and feel free to believe in your team. You have to. But Tonga don't have a spine. We all know that. It's a fact. Like, it's worrying, because Amon is not that great. I think, well, who was the player that had a good game the other day? The second half for Tonga was good, and he played well. I think it was Isaiah Katoa, maybe? Lolohea and Niu. Yeah, Tui Lolohea. Tui Lolohea and Tessie. Niu is your fullback. Like, bro, like, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? Australia have James Tedesco, Cameron Munster, Nathan Cleary, and a mixture of Ben Hunt and Harry Grant. And you want me to sit here and say that Tonga have a spine in comparison? Like, bro, you want me to sit here and say that Tonga have a spine in comparison to James Tedesco, Cameron Munster, Nathan Cleary / Daly Cherry Evans, the options there, and then the number 9, which is either Harry Grant or Ben Hunt. We couldn't even send Damien Cook to the World Cup because of our depth. You know what I'm saying? Because of how quality they are. Like, it just, for me, I understand you've beaten teams in the past, man, but most of the time, New Zealand were a terrible team back in 2017, mind you. Terrible. That was one of their worst periods I've ever seen. And that's, I guess, why some people are so excited right now for... Hopewade. Yeah, you're right, Alfred. Hopewade, Havili, and Lolohea. It's not testing you. Testing you played in that game on the weekend. Hopewade will be there. It's still average, though, for me, man. And yes, you can still win. Don't get me wrong. We're not even in Tonga's section yet. Tonga's a little bit to go. We've still got Scotland to go through before we get to Tonga. But, you know... There's still a major concern with Tonga for me. I'm not going to lie. But that doesn't mean you can't win. It doesn't mean that your forwards can't lay the platform when your backs aren't good enough. But I don't think the backs this time around are as exciting as what I saw actually in 2017, which was a great Tongan team. Can they win? Yes. Will they win? Not for me. But we'll get to them in a second. Go watch something else. Says Tonga have a good 6, that's it. Lag and ball sacks. Well, no. Settle down. Like, come on. I love Siliva Havili. I just don't have him as my starting 9. I say this to you guys all the time, and I said this before. Siliva Havili, for me, is the best number 14 in the NRL at the moment. I think for the Rabbitohs, he's the best number 14 in the comp. But I don't have him as the starting 9 for me. But, like, Alfred, like, don't take offense to the way I'm talking to you. Like, this is just us having a passionate discussion here. This is what this is all about. Dab Goose's new is a basket case. Random Black Guy says, I reckon Tonga's forwards will carry them, and I reckon Isaiah Katoa should start ahead of Amon. I said this on the weekend. Yeah, I agree. I think that Isaiah Katoa looked really good, and I would put him there personally. Someone said your Muppet call coming up. I don't know what that means. You call me Muppet? If so, cool. Fair enough, really. I am the Muppet, to be fair. WW Goose says, Lolohea played good in the last World Cup and previous games, as well as the game they beat Oz. David Torpo says, I know this won't happen, but just imagine another universe where Payne Haas is playing for Samoa. So I don't think he would have, obviously. I think he would have selected to play for Australia, but in the same sense, yes, that would be a very good forward signing. But you're not lacking in forwards. You've got Josh Papali'i, you've got Junior Paulo, you've got a heap of good forwards there in Samoa that you're not really lacking at all in, to be honest with you. It's not really the biggest, it's not really a crazy... It's not really crazy to say. Well, sorry, I don't know what I'm saying here. It's not hard to say that Samoa could have one of the best forward packs in the comp, and they're unlucky they don't have Moses Leota. Moses Leota being in Samoa would have been very good for them. Alpha says, what I'm saying, we don't have a spine. Oh, you're saying you don't have a spine, but we still won. Oh, so you are saying, so we're kind of agreeing. I don't know what's going on here, man. Like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on. I'm all over the shop, man. I'm trying my best to read through comments. Obviously, they're going quite fast, so I'm trying to understand what you're saying. My apologies if I'm getting it wrong, man, but also, take that. Dave Montoya says, Tonga all day, man. So what he's saying is we don't have a spine, we still won. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to argue that. I don't think anyone's going to argue that at all, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to confidently back you. Like, that doesn't mean that just because you won those games doesn't mean I'm going to confidently back you. That was a different New Zealand team. It was an international friendly for the Australia game, and England have never won a World Cup, so I'll never back them in. But I hope you understand where I'm coming from, Alfred. I understand where you're coming from now, but I hope you understand what I'm saying too. Now, why so much hate towards Tonga? It's not from my end. I don't have any hate towards Tonga at all. I think that the people in the chat, the people who don't like Tonga, are people who are nervous at Tonga. And I think that they're concerned that if they're Samoan or they're New Zealander or even Australian, they're concerned that maybe this might be Tonga's time. But if you're Australian, I just want to say, get around other teams too. If Australia don't win it, yes, it will suck. But in the same sense, I want to see a more diverse World Cup. And I think that everyone does want to see a more diverse World Cup. If you don't want to see a more diverse World Cup, be my guest and celebrate till the cows come home about Australia winning, which should happen. They're $1.30 favourites, and they're probably going to win the World Cup. But you've got to still get around other teams. As long as it's not New Zealand or England, because obviously they're still very similar, and it wouldn't really change too much of the outlook and context of the World Cup. If a team like Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, Cook Islands, Papua New Guinea, those kind of teams, it would be really good for the game. Really, really good for the game. Really good for the game. Lucas says, New Zealand also showed on Tony's last time we played. You did, but there was a very different Tonga team too, but you did. New Zealand did really shit on Tonga in that mid-season game. We'll go to a couple more here, and then we'll get to the next one here. Jay says, hit the like button to be Muppet. Yeah, hit that thumbs up button, guys, and subscribe if you're new around here. Let's move on here to Scotland, because I know that the next one after that is Tonga, and you guys, Tonga is the big point of the chat right now, obviously. To be fair, we did have a big Tonga stream on the weekend, but Scotland here. Where do we put Scotland? I think that it's hard to go and talk about Scotland now after we've done all that. I think Scotland probably go here. I think Scotland probably go get ready for a bit of a slapping. Who is in... But then again, they have some good talent too. I think France is above them, though. I'd actually be pretty happy to put them there now. I'm pretty happy to move France up to bottom of the emerging nation, and these three in their own little level here. And I think Wales might go there as well. I'll go Scotland at the top end of get ready for a slapping. Dad Joke is Scotland beat Samoa last World Cup. Again, guys, that World Cup is so long ago now. That was 5 years ago. Even though the World Cup was meant to be last year, COVID obviously postponed it. If you want to put them here, then cool. But I'm going to put them there because Scotland are in a group with Australia. They've got Fiji, and they've got... who's the other team? Australia, Fiji, and Italy. I'm pretty certain. I think it's Australia, Fiddly? Jeez. Australia, Fiji, and Italy. Fiddly. There you go. Fiji and Italians. Your name's now Fiddly, right? Australia, Fiji, and Italy. And Scotland, I think, will get pumped in all three of those games. Maybe the Italy game actually might be a little bit... I just come from Greece. Maybe the Italy game might be actually quite close. It's a bit too... I'm going to go here. It evens it out a little bit more. I don't think Scotland's better than France or Italy, is what I'll say. Yeah, Dad with Goose, that Samoa team was terrible. Yes. Smashes Tonga will smack Aussie. Okay, mate. Whatever you say, bosso. Michael says, yeah, France should be up with the emerging nation. Yeah, I'll put them at the bottom end, though. But they're not anything... They're not for me... Like, I could make an argument that they could be here, but I'm not going to be putting them above Cook Islands or thingo. But I'm happy with the foundations Italy have built over the years, that maybe they're a little bit better right now. But France did concede 50 to a Tongan team that played one of their worst games I've seen in a long time. Luke Hanley says, I remember I played the Rugby League 3 game of Scotland and had to sweat my balls off to win the World Cup. That would have been hard. Lager Ballsack said, it's annoying when it's always one dominant team, two mid-teams, and one bad team in every pool, and it's always the big teams in the finals. Should put the top teams together and the others in the other pools. Yeah, the FIFA World Cup is similar. Rugby Union World Cup is the exact same. Look at Rugby Union World Cup, mate. You're going to see teams get beaten by 100 next year, which is what we see quite regularly. And also says, bro, 5 years is a long time. 5 years is a long time. But in the same sense, no, yeah, it's just it is a long time. Biggie Shack says, okay, I guess the term is the use of a racial slur, which Luai captioned his post with Sat. Okay, we don't really need to talk about this. Chev says semis, England vs Samoa and Oz vs Kiwis. Lion Ballsack says Scotland have got Luke Brooks and Sam Cassiano. Put them in champion contenders. Luke Brooks and Sam Cassiano. Is Sammy Cassiano still playing? That's unbelievable. That bloke. Yeah, how old is he now? Buddy, 64? Yeah, I don't understand, Lucas, why he brought up the racial stuff. Time to move on, man. As that guy says, Danny Bro isn't good anymore. Brighton Robinson says they will like the conditions. Scotland, they will like the conditions. That's why Jamaica's also really low down here. Full-time leagues. Speaking of Scotland, anyone remember the World Cup game where David Mead missed an easy kick right in front of the sticks to give Scotland the win? Kubble's never won a game during that World Cup. I don't remember it. I would have been quite young, but in the same sense, I'm not doubting that you're right in that one. Salad, the first says, Greek Rugby League is only going up from here. Won't get a single win this year, though. I don't disagree with you. I'm not shitting on teams that are here, right? I'm not saying they can never be good, but this World Cup, they should get ready for a slapping because they're not there yet. For Emerging Nation, is all about these guys are kind of there, but they're not really at all. Then you got competitive won't win is actually quite harsh, but I can see why those three teams are there. They're decent and they will be quality, and they're going to pump the lower teams, but they're still going to struggle with the big teams. And then you got just off the mark, which is they're not as Australian Kiwis. I honestly don't know if I'm going to put anyone up there with the champion contenders, but we'll see. But yeah, this isn't me saying these teams will never get better. It's just they're not going to be good this time around. And also, if you saw those teams who win the last World Cup as valid now, then Dragons beating Panthers by 30 plus back then would be valid now. Yeah, fair. That's a good call. Dragons back then would have been beating Panthers by that much. Titans would have been really competitive with them. Billy Banks says Kummels won't win a game with the whole comp. I know he's talking about Greece. PNG, they're going to be competitive. I've got them to come second in their group stage. I honestly could see them coming first, but I've got them coming second. PNG, if you want to see what I had to say about PNG, I gave them a good rap yesterday. Or go and check that video out. Lucas says, X Factor, can you make a tier low enough? Oh no, what's X Factor said? Can we get a lower tier for the Broncos' perspective? Yeah, but that's just the dickhead tier. That's all the way down there. We haven't put that in yet, yeah. That's just like common sense though. Tank Lanky says, David Feeder and Penasini is going to turn out really good soon. Yes, Salafers, Scotland does have Ewan Aiken. Yeah, it's pretty much their only really good play, to be honest with you. I think Luke Douglas, my boy Lukey Douglas, used to play for Scotland. He was a great forward, man. Super underrated, very consistent, played for the Sharks and the Titans. But anyway, we'll put Scotland there. Only way is up for Scottish. The only way is up. I nearly called them Scotties, but the only way is up for Scotland. All right, next up here, Tonga. This is going to be a big one. I am going to put Tonga here above England, but I'm not going to put them here. But I am going to have them above England, or they could actually be there. I'm going to maybe say there. Oh, this is half between them and England. I think that I'm actually a little bit more excited about Tonga than England, especially, yes, I'm going to put them there. I'm not putting them up here, guys. I'm sorry, but I've got Australian Kiwis pretty clearly as favourites, obviously. And look at the teams. There's a reason there's no weak spot. There's no weak spot in the spine, no weak spot in the centres, backs, forwards, depth, anything, right? So that's why I've got them two as the clear and out favourites. Tonga, these three teams can still win the Cup. These three teams here can still win the World Cup. These guys can't. But they're just off the mark going into this World Cup. This chat's going super fast, by the way, so I will do my best to read as many comments as I can. But hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, guys, if you are new around here. But yeah, look, Tonga's going to be a very good team. I love their forwards, obviously. Dave Fafita has become underrated because of your nonsense, right? I love my boy Davey. I've been backing him in all the time. It was a club issue this year, not a David issue this year for me. It was a club of the Gold Coast Titans issue. I'm a Titans fan. I'm saying that the club has recognised it's an our issue rather than necessarily the players' issue. Is that saying Dave was bad, wasn't the best ever, and it was not his fault at all? No. I also lay some blame with him. But in the same sense, defensively, unbelievable player. Attacking-wise, unbelievable player. Just needs the ball in the right position. And we saw that on the weekend. He scored 3 tries for Tonga. Your spine, as we've just been speaking with Tongans about, Alfred, is not great. But you do have the ability to still win based on the 4-pack. Taumalolo out for the first 2 games, though. Taumalolo out for the first 2 games, which is unfortunate, however. But overall, this will be a very good team. Now, I'm going to go to the chat, because this chat's going speedy, and I want to read some of what you guys are saying. South the first, closest thing to a third champion contender is Tonga or Samoa. England's got no shot. That's a wild call, man. That's a wild call to say England's got no shot. It's in England. The conditions are going to suit England more than all 4 of these teams combined, nearly, especially the island teams. I think that's a crazy call, especially considering they put 50 past Fiji with a weakened team of England as well. Both England and Fiji had weakened teams there. It just hurt Fiji a lot more. England are definitely in with an opportunity here, man, but they have to go through Tonga or Samoa to get to the final against one of Australia and New Zealand. It's tough, man. It really is. It really is tough. Smashes the refs will rig the game if Tonga play in the semi. Oh, guys, we're still going on about that nonsense in 2017. Like, are we still doing that? Boydie TV says England or Tonga. Well, I've got Tonga here. But in the same sense, I would not be surprised. These guys are pretty much in the exact same level for me. I think that the reason I put Tonga higher is because I'm more excited about what Tonga could produce than I'm excited about what England could produce. So that's why I've got them. And I'm probably a little bit more excited about what Samoa could produce. But I think their spine is still the issue. I think, oh man, like these three, this is the thing. Like they're all in the same similar area here. They are all in a similar area. I could easily put them here too. I could easily put them as high as that too. This is really difficult to put them in specific players. BS Man says over 200 chat. Is there about 200 people watching this right now? Have we got over 200 people watching this? Gee whiz, yeah, we do. We've got 188 people watching right now with 66 likes. Guys, smack that thumbs up button, baby. Shit, man. Smack that thumbs up button and shit, man. Hit that subscribe button. Jeez, I was not expecting that on a Monday night for a preview. But then again, it's all good fun. Michael says, Sonny Luke just started hooking for Tonga. He played Penrith New South Wales Cup. Great player and Havili off the bench. I like that. Like you guys know, I think Havili is a 14. I think Havili is a 14 for me. Zeke guys says, Tonga is not better than England. Come on, bro. Home advantage, no Red Sea like in New Zealand. See, that's the thing. This is why it's so hard, man. Because you probably do give, because of the home advantage and the weather conditions, you look at England. But you can't tell me that you're more excited about how England play than you are about how Tonga could play and also how Samoa could play. These guys here, I'm going to clarify here. Tonga and Samoa, both of these teams are going to be based upon hype. And both of these teams are going to be based upon if they can really, I guess, live up to the hype, which I know sounds obvious, but this team is not hype. England is not hype, right? They're consistent, they're a safe bet, and they're always usually top 3, but never usually win. They were in the World Cup final last time and lost 6-0. Beat Tonga, actually, in the last World Cup. Controversially, whatever, we moved on. But the fact of the matter is that these guys are more exciting, but these guys are safer. So I'm going to go with the excitement of Tonga, but I'll leave England in the middle as safe. And then Samoa down there. But all three of these guys can switch down to perspective. This is all perspective-based, obviously. I'm going to move this into here, guys. I'm going to put Wales into... because we're obviously not going to talk too much about Wales. We're going to put Wales probably above Greece, below Scotland. Wales are okay. They're fine. They're nothing special. They'll do what they need to do. But they're gonna lose, right? They're just not going to be fantastic at all. So Wales will go into the get ready for a slapping area. And I think that's fair. I think that's fair there. Obviously more of a rugby. They're similar to Scotland and whatnot. So that's the tease there. But I think that the chat's going so fast now that we kind of should just move past that and get into what we're talking about here. Logan Paul says, Tank's going to find you now. Watch out. Ooh. Lucas says, a fresh J2 will be massive. He's match fit for the quarters. Yeah, that's a big call there. That's a right call, Lucas, is that when Tamalolo comes back for the third game, he'll be fresh, man. He won't have had those 2 first games. He'll be raring to go, and he'll want to put some bloody pain on, son. He's going to want to really run hard in those last couple of games. That last game. Even though they're probably going to rest a couple of those guys in the last game, depending on who they play. I think their last game is against the Cook Islands, maybe. I think their last game is against Cook Islands, but they should have already maybe won those first 2 games. But like I said, I honestly could see PNG beating Tonga in that group stage game. It's going to be so good, man. This World Cup is really competitive. It is. Big Davey going to go off this World Cup. He already kind of has, mate. Balaviani Angaria Nevalu. Let me go back and look at this comment. Sorry, guys. Let me just go find this one. It's a little bit behind. It was about Fiji. It was about my boy, my Tosovitis. This chat is Muppet Town. This chat is Muppet Town. NRL stuff says. Where was that comment? Oh my goodness me. This chat's going so fast I can't even find where that comment was. Oh, here we go. Balaviani Angarini Navalu says, what do you reckon of Fiji's chances, bro? I think, and as I've said, guys, don't forget, I'll be reacting and live streaming to every single game of this World Cup, right? But my thoughts about Fiji... I'll be in Fiji. I love Fiji. My daughter is Fijian. She's Ratuman. I want Fiji to do so well, man. But I'm so concerned with their halves. Brandon Wakeham and either Siti Mazandreke or Kevin Aguama is not a good halves pairing. It's the worst halves pairing. I probably wouldn't go PNG's halves with Laybutt and Lamb. But in the same sense, I would say that Fiji, out of the 3 island nations of Samoa, Tonga and Fiji, normally have a bit better of a consistent halves pairing, but this time around, I'd take Luai Milford and I would take Oh shit, I can't remember the halves. Tonga. Sorry, there's just a lot going on right now. But I'd say I would take the Tonga's halves over Fiji's halves too. So that's why I've got them here, man. That's why I've got them in competitive but won't win. But they could easily go here and they could easily go here. They're normally in the semi-finals. They've made the last 3 semi-finals in a row, but I'm happy to put them in competitive but won't win. Would love to see me get proven wrong though. Patello Lemeki says David Fee's X Factor and Hamoli or Felice Kafusi's defense will be solid. So I actually think that you put David Fafita alongside Keon Kolomatangi. But Felice Kafusi is also very safe. So they're probably going to put David Fafita there alongside Felice Kafusi. And then you've also got Hamali Olakawatu or Kolomatangi. Those two guys are the exact same player. Olakawatu and Kolomatangi are literally the exact same player in my personal opinion. Full-time League says, judging off the Super League games, I don't think the stadiums will be filled. Will be an underwhelming World Cup in terms of attendance. I disagree. I think it'll still be quite big. Priest Pilatati says, bullshit, Samoa will beat Tonga and England. It could do. This is the same area. It's just, if you actually listen to what I said, there's a reason why they're there. Goes to Baines. I watched the Super League semis, grand final, and a bunch of games during the year. I think England will struggle with the speed of NRL dominant teams. I like it, man. I do. I just think that they're super consistent, and you've got to give them the credit for being on their own home turf as well. And the weather conditions do not suit Samoa. They don't suit Fiji. They definitely don't suit PNG. They definitely don't suit Tonga. Lebanon will be okay. Ireland will love it. Cook Islands won't suit. Italy will suit-ish. France will suit, we'll say. France will suit. Scotland will suit. Wales will suit. Greece, I don't know. And Jamaica, definitely not. So all those lower teams, obviously, it's not going to mean too much. But the fact of the matter is that when you're talking up here, it is going to give England the advantage. If it, for example, let's say the semi-final, right? England take on Tonga. If the semi-final is England vs Tonga, then, and it's pouring down rain, you give that advantage to England. You do. But Tonga have the better team for me. But you give the advantage to England based on the conditions. It's really tough. And England beat Tonga in 2017. I just want to remind everyone of that. They did. Alfred says, Takiyaho, Kolomatangi, Fafita will keep 13, jersey 1 for Tamalolo. I would love Dave Fafita to go to 13, Alfred. You know that. But in the same sense, I think he'll be back row. I do. I think he'll be back row. Body TV says, I think England top 3 team, in my opinion. I'm okay with where they are, but in the same sense, I agree with you. They came second last time. Jonathan Farapo says, so the best PNG can do is get to the semis. I don't think that they will get to the semis, but in the same sense, they could get there. I don't know if PNG have ever gotten to the semis. Can someone from Papua New Guinea in the chat let me know? Has Papua New Guinea actually been to the semis before? I don't know if they have. They're always a very competitive team, but there's a difference between having the talent and being passionate to having the talent and being less passionate. I don't know what to say there. It's like Australia, New Zealand, and a few of these other teams have a lot more talent. They just don't have the same kind of oomph that you see from PNG in regards to the physicality. But still, they don't have necessarily the smarts to outdo in Australia. Like again, James Tedesco, Cameron Munster, Nathan Cleary, and Harry Grant / Ben Hunt, and that's interchangeable. And then if Tedesco gets injured, you have Latrell Mitchell. Now, also, don't forget, Tom Trbojevic would normally be in the centres, but obviously Tom Trbojevic is not in the centres this time around, so he's injured. So it's unfortunate, but the fact of the matter is that this Australian team is still so much depth. Like, there's so much depth here, man. Dab Goose says, England beat Tonga last World Cup when Tonga had an even stronger team. They'll be good. Yeah, but that was a bit different too. That was the first time we've seen Tonga realistically for who they are, rather than this time we kind of know who they are and they've actually built towards this World Cup. Raina Black Guy says, I reckon Tonga would do good, as sometimes when they're down, they have a strong heart to carry on, like when they did nearly lost to Australia in 2019. Again, international friendly, not the same as the World Cup, but I see what you're saying, and I do agree with you. TW says, Fafita is a front runner. Good when his team is winning, not when it's tough grind and why he's not in Origin. He wasn't in Origin this year because he was injured. It wasn't because he doesn't play well. It wasn't because of the season the Titans were having. He literally wasn't playing in Origin because he was injured. Tonga Tapu says, Fafita, Olakawatu and Kafusi back 3 for Tonga without JT. I like it, yeah. I really do like Kolomatangi, though, over Olakawatu. But like I said, Kolomatangi and Olakawatu are pretty much the same player. This Jay's Muppet Town. Tank Lanky says their passion for the sport is unmatched, though. Tonga and Papua New Guinea. Tonga gets all the recommendations for the passion, and they have an unbelievable and undeniable amount of passion for this game of rugby league. But PNG are on a similar level, man, and they die for their sport, man. Like, Papua New Guineans are obsessed with rugby league, and Tonga, they love it, but Papua New Guinea is so underrated in regards to the passion they have for the sport. Smashes Milford is gun, bro. Settle down. Settle down. Selden versus Samoa desperately need a better halfback than Anthony Milford or CHT. Yeah, they do. And I just want to go to Splash, mate. This isn't 2015, bro. We're not in 2015. Officer Samson Marley says, is Sonny Luke playing? Potentially. He's in the team lineup. Oh, he's in the team list anyway. When do the team list come out? Do they come out tomorrow, by the way? Does someone know when the team was coming out? I'm asking you guys questions, but the chat's going too fast that I can actually read them all. So Michael says, what are they broadcasting the games on? BKR Sport, mate. They're playing them right here on BKR Sport. Tonga Tapu says, Tonga have a stronger team now than 2017. It's 50-50. You can make arguments for both sides of that. This is Samoa's golden team. I agreed to go. This is their peak. They could have a better World Cup than Tonga, that's for sure. Like I said, all three of these teams can interchange, man. But it just comes down to whether you back in the halves. Because I think that the Tonga 4-pack is the best. I think that the Samoa backline's better than Tonga's backline, though. Tank Link says, how are we going to say TM is hype when they had already shown what they've done? Tonga is definitely a hype team right now. Chev says, semis, England vs Samoa and odds versus Kiwis, mark my words. Well, that's a very obvious semis, so, like, it's okay. Okay, I'll mark your words, but that's, like, the favourite semis right now. Maybe England, Tonga might be the favourites, but England, Samoa was very close. Robin Rosario says, rather have Luai and Schuster over Milford. Kyan Lazarus says, hit the like button for you, Blaze. I've learned about these games and teams and can't wait to watch the World Cup. It's going to be amazing, man. It's going to be a big World Cup, bro. Sebastian Grammer says, as a Super League follower, I'd put Wales in just below Scotland. Yeah, okay, that's where we put them, yeah. But they're interchangeable in all fairness. Yeah, there you go. Fucker Offer says, isn't it crazy that the World Cup was last year, the teams would look completely different? They would, yeah. They would. Tom Trbojevic, oh man. Imagine Tommy T coming into this World Cup right now after the season he had last year. Unbelievable. I'm going to skip forward to the comments that are coming in live right now because that was a little bit away. Pretty sure tomorrow at 4 p.m, maybe we live stream our reaction to the teams because you guys obviously are killing it. Christian Tevasio says, stop dick riding Tonga, you must be quarter Tongan. Yeah, mate, yeah. It's definitely not just because I have an opinion about Tonga being pretty good. You know, it's definitely not because I think they've got a really good team and there's a reason why they're in the top favourites. But, you know, cool. You do you, man. You think that I'm being biased towards a team, feel free to create your own channel and tell us your opinion. But the fact of the matter is that I think Tonga will be very good. I'm Australian and also love Fiji. I'm not part Tonga at all. I'm not part anybody besides Australia, and my daughter is Ratuman Fijian, right? So the opinions that I have, I've put Fiji down here, and I would love to put Fiji here, right? But I don't do that. I'm honest where I believe these teams are going to be. This channel is all about me telling you my opinion. If you don't like it, it's not my problem. But the fact of the matter is that that's why we have this chat, so that we both can show our opinions. I would love to read your comments more, but obviously there's a lot of people chatting right now. Pretty sure tomorrow at 4 p.m. Maybe we'll live react our to the team lineups. And also says Val Holmes wouldn't be in World Cup if it was last year, I reckon. Probably not, yeah. Lucas Jenner says it's dumb. Most of the game are at like 12 to about 5 for our time zones. It's not dumb, it's in England. Uwa says, but Tonga has the best 4-pack in the Rugby League World Cup right now. Yes, I agree. I said that. Yeah, I agree with that. Lager Ball says, I'm kind of worried about Tom Trbojevic return to the NRL. I just have this weird feeling he won't be like he used to be, but in the same sense, it is Tom T. Tom T had one really bang year, but in the same sense, could easily come back as well. Billy Banks says, whichever team has Milford will lose. I love that comment. If I could pin that comment and not click off here, I would do it. If I could pin that comment, I would. Full-time league says, I reckon Milford will find his form again at the Redcliffe Dolphins. They're not Redcliffe. Sal the First is hard for some chat to accept England's getting shitter at yet another sport. Well, you're always going to find this with sport, man, and always with chats, is that you're going to have a lot of disagreements and whatnot. You're going to have people always disagreeing with each other in the chat, yeah? So, yeah, especially the more people that are here, people are going to always disagree with each other. And especially considering that a lot of these people here aren't actually disagreeing. They're just saying because they want Samoa to do better, or they want Papua New Guinea to do better, or Fiji, or Lebanon. You know, I'm surprised we haven't had some Jamaicans come in and tell us that they think Jamaica's going to win the World Cup. I'm not really surprised. So Michael says, Milford is the captain. That concerns me because he seems like a quiet guy. Yeah, he's not that quiet. I can't tell you a story, but Gojo on the field, probably, yeah. Gojo Satori says Samoa or Samoa. What do you want from me? What are you making fun of how I'm saying it? Christian says, sorry, no, you don't need to be sorry, bro. It's all opinions. Like I said, it's passionate. You're allowed to have your opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion. That's why I say get involved in the chat. Tell me why I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong, don't say that I'm wrong because I must be part Tongan. Like, just tell us why you think I'm wrong. I'm open to hear the opinion. And like, this is why a channel like mine isn't for the soft of heart, because it's very... I have to have a response for everyone, yeah, and everyone has an opposite opinion. Lucas says, Milford only coming to the World Cup so everyone can blame him. Society Selossi says, incredible how many above average teams. Incredible how many above average teams. So you're saying... Well, this is the average. So this time around, so above average would be Lebanon, Fiji. This is average, I guess. But in the same sense, these guys, all three of these, have the ability to be up here. All three of them have the ability to be up here, like I said. And honestly, I could see PNG beating Tonga in that group stage game. Just throwing that out there. I don't think it happens though, but I think they could. Full-time, and I think 13-1 odds is amazing. Full-time league says Lebanon has that one guy that looks like Josh Mansour, I think. Jay says, let's hit 100 likes, slap it. Let's get to 100 likes, guys. We'll probably stick around until the chat starts slowing down a little bit. But yeah, let's hit 100 likes here and absolutely smack it. Like I said, we'll be streaming literally every single Rugby League World Cup game live. So if you want an interactive commentary, that's what we do here. Lucas Chandra says, what's the dark blue team? That's Greece here, that's Scotland here, and that's Samoa up top, if that's what you're asking. NBA News now says Cook Islands are in the champion contenders tier. Jacques Yellowfair says need to go to sleep for work later. Zake says Christian Wolf's success could rub off onto Tonga. Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see how Wolf does, obviously, does do that. Gojo Satoru says, what do you think about Milford and the Hammer connection for Samoa? I think that a lot of people, obviously... I think a lot of people, I've got Suali as the fullback, but I think that... I'm going to put these guys back here, but settle down, mate. Yeah, I've got Hammer as the fullback, but I think they're talking about Suali going there. So apparently that's why Suali chose to go there, because he'll get the fullback role. Biggie Shack says, I said something I didn't mean, and now everyone in the chat hates me. Biggie Shack, bro, this is what I'm saying with this chat. It gets hectic, man. You just gotta keep going, keep moving. You know, just ignore it and keep on moving on, bro. Because the chat, it gets ravaged in this chat, man. Everyone's a passionate sport fan. You gotta remember that. Everyone here is a passionate sport fan. And everyone's got their opinions. That's man says that looks like Josh Mansour, man, because it is Josh Mansour. Well, he looks like Josh Mansour, to be fair. He looks like Josh Mansour, to be fair. Blood King says Taylor over Hammer. No, I'm not putting Taylor May in the fullback role. No, if anything, I'd be putting Suwali there instead. If anything. DeGoat says Leeds got smashed by New Zealand. How do you reckon the Panthers boys would do against an England team? I think they'd slap them. I think they beat them. Because Samoa is basically Panthers. New South Wales is basically Panthers. And again, New South Wales lost because, you know, Queensland. Am I right? I am right. All says Stephen deserves to be fullback for Samoa. Stephen. I think Crichton. I don't think Crichton's a good fullback. I think he's a good centre. I'm not a big fan of Stephen Crichton in the old fullback. I don't think he did too well when... I don't think he did too well when he was a Panthers fullback. I think that overall, I've definitely got him as a good centre, a really top centre. If you guys don't know, we cover a lot of Rugby League, NRL, sorry. And at the beginning of every year, we do a tier rankings of every single player in each position, right? So we'll do a centres tier ranking, we'll do a fullback, we'll do a front row, back row, hooker, every single position on an individual video and go through every single player. So I think Stephen Crichton in the centres is in the quality marker, which is along this tier here. So this is normally elite, quality, do the job. 4 tier down is not that great, and then this is unproven. So get excited for that one, because we go through them all, and I don't think Stephen Crichton's that great of a fullback. Clarkie's not happy. Clarkie's not happy. He's not a happy chap with the old Clarkie. Billy Banks says, I can see a PNG beating Tonga too. Appreciate you for the $4.50 donation there, Clarkie's Rugby League Con. Appreciate you, dude. If you guys don't know Clarkie, obviously go and check out his Insta page, Facebook and whatnot. He covers all this. He covers all this and absolutely smashes it day to day. I've seen him work hard, the big fella. I've seen him work hard. But thank you very much for your donation, brother. Robin Ozora says Chuck May and hooker. He knows how to play it. What's buddy going on here? What are we doing, Chuck and Taylor May and hooker? Hey, buddy, what's happening here, man? Billy Banks, I can see PNG beating Tonga too. I can see a world where it happens. I'm just throwing it out there. It's a bit shaky. It's a little bit shaky, but I could see a world where it happens. Jay Samwatt says Aussie won't make it to the final, and mark my word, don't forget it seriously. Aussie won't make it to the final. Okay, they have to go through New Zealand. I would not be surprised if New Zealand won. I would not be crazily surprised if New Zealand beat Australia in that semi. But I don't see anybody else beat Australia. So you have to be really relying on New Zealand to beat Australia if they're not going to make the final. Michael says England won at 12 over Samoa and Tonga 13 plus over PNG. That's a bit rough. Blood Kings, what do you think if Dylan Brown went to Samoa? I would love to see Dylan Brown. He's not going to. He'll play for New Zealand, but I would love to see it. I would love to see him go to Samoa. But in the same sense, that's getting rid of the better player of the two, because you get Jerome Luai there. You know, I think Dylan Brown is a better player than Jerome Luai personally, but in the same sense, they're both very up and down players. At least Dylan Brown, I feel like, is more proven without another half there than Luai is proven without Nathan Cleary. Thank you very much for the $4 redo donation there, full-time league. I appreciate you as well, dude. Thank you very much. Clarkie's Rugby League Column says he's seen me fit Brooks into the best halfback category. It's hard work. As the man says, hard work, mate. It's hard work. Ooh, it says, oh, mate, if Dylan went to Samoa, then it's over the rest of the teams in the Rugby League World Cup. Why, though? You've already got Jerome Luai in the 6. So what are you really improving there? The improving of Samoa's team is in the halfback role with Milford. It's not 2015 anymore. So I think that 2015, yes, okay, Samoa would have looked good with a Milford there, but obviously this isn't 2015. We're 7 years past that, when he played well for the Broncos. Now your biggest issue is your hooker and your half, but your halfback specifically, because I think that, they're two running halves. Luai, I do like, but he's not proven without Cleary just yet. Michael says PNG doesn't have the attacking power to beat Tonga and don't have the defense to keep Tonga from the line, in my opinion. So I think you're looking too much at that Australia PM XII game where they had a lot of injuries and a lot of players out. Papua New Guineans will die on the line. They will die for their team. Papua New Guinea actually are a very competitive team at World Cups. They're so underrated at World Cups. I guess that we're also looking at that World Cup from 2017 and they got home games though, which may skew it a little bit, but in the same sense, if you know Papua New Guinea, you know how much they are obsessed with this sport, man. So I definitely wouldn't put it past Papua New Guinea to surprise. Yes, obviously, Tonga will go in as favourites. They're 13-1 underdogs, Papua New Guinea. I'm just saying, don't be crazily surprised if it's a very close game. And don't be crazily surprised if it does happen. But I do agree with you that PNG does lack the attacking power. But look at their back line. Alex Johnson, fullback. You've got Alex Johnson, fullback. You've got Justin Odom in the centre. You've got Ngutalik on one wing. The other wing is Xavier Coates, and I can't remember the other centre. But it's a big backline, man. It's a good backline. Macabaka says, except for 2005, New Zealand doesn't play well versus Aussie and England. Advantage still to Aussie. Mate, advantage is always with Australia. But the bank says only New Zealand could beat Australia. I agree, unless you see Tonga. Tonga could give it a shake. They could give it a shake, but I think that the smarts of a Ben Hunt, the intelligence of a Nathan Cleary / Cherry Evans, the explosiveness of a Latrell Mitchell in the centres, I tell you, it's spicy. It really is. Ibanez Honataipari says, Shinya Paulo versus Payne Haas in a boxing match. Who you got? Probably... Maybe Junior Paulo based on the experience, but it's interesting. I'd rather go Tino Fa'asuamaleaui versus Payne Haas, and I'll go Tino. Johnson says, I can see New Zealand winning the World Cup. I think we all can see it. Gojo Satoru says, I wish all countries had equal funding across the board for the World Cup. Well, that's just impossible and will never happen. It's like, okay, I wish Australian Socceroos had the same amount of funding as the Kangaroos get, or the AFL gets, or the Australian Cricket gets, or whatnot, but they don't. Wallabies. Fact of the matter is, Wallabies don't even get that much funding. But I would love the Socceroos to be on the same level with England and who haven't won, mind you, in 60-odd years. Spain, the likes, but it's just not possible. Australia is the best competitive sport country in the world. They're good in everything, but not the best in everything, obviously, but they're the best collectively at as much sports as possible. But in the same sense, some sports are going to take a hit. It just is what it is. Christian Tavaisu says they should chuck Vinaya Hambosi in the wing for Fiji. Oh, Vinaya Hambosi. Oh, boy. Vinaya Hambosi. Don't get me started on Vinaya Hambosi. Oh, boy. Tosso Viti. Just what do we sova. Oh, boy. What's going on here? Now we're getting started here. Do we sova and Hambosi. Get a bit of Sammy in there. Michael says Lebanon to have a better campaign than Fiji. Wouldn't be surprised based on what we saw. But in the same sense, that game on the weekend, guys, Api Sarkodisau was not there. Vilema Kikau was not there. You've got Sithi Motomzaki probably won't play there. Naguam will go to the 5'8", probably, and you'll have Sunu Torova in the fullback. You'll have Ravalawa go from the centre to the wing because he's a winger. You'll have Micah Sivo come onto the other wing there, and then you've got oh man, there's so many players that have to come back in. It's just a bit of a schmozzle there that game, but there's a lot of stuff to be shown. Blah, blah, blah. So it will be the most competitive World Cup, but Australia could still smash everyone 30+. 30+ is a bit of it too much, but I don't think they could beat New Zealand by that much, but I think they could still beat New Zealand by about 10. But New Zealand are the best fullback in the competition. Billy Banks says, I'm just going to finish by saying go the Kummels. Getting around the Kummels there from Papua New Guinea. Uwa says Lebanon have amazing halves. Yeah, that's why I'm so intrigued by them. I really am. That's why I'm so intrigued. Full-time league says, same with Fiji. They need to raise some decent halves. They've been raising wingers and backs since they were introduced to rugby. But that's because of sevens, man. You know, sevens is always going to be the main sport in Fiji. And it's going to be too tough to tackle that one and turn it over. Fiji don't even really too much care for the Rugby Union World Cup. And that's still a part. It's like sevens and 15s is the exact same sport. Just take away a few players, right? But Fijians still don't really give too much of a shit about the 15s comparatively. And the league is a similar, but it's even lesser. So you've got your fast-paced wingers, you've got your strong backs, you've got your really strong backs like a Micah Siva and whatnot. But yeah, it's just the islands, they don't seem to have the ability to really develop a really quality half. I don't even know what kind of halves will be coming through right now that would be eligible for Fiji that could eventually be good. I don't know, man. I really don't. Godru Satoru says, imagine if Tino, Nanai and Tuolangi were playing for the Toa Samoa. Yeah, it'd be good. I still think they're they're lacking because Australia's depth in all those positions are fantastic. But yes, I don't even know if Nanai's going to actually start or get a spot for Australia because he's not going to be on the starting lineup, surely. And I wouldn't put him on the bench. He's not a bench player for me, Jeremiah Nanai. And Tuolangi's not going to get on the wing. Tuolangi won't get on the wing because I think they'll push Val Holmes to the wing. They've got Josh Adokar on the other wing. And then the centres, they'll have either Jack White and Latrell Mitchell or Matt Burt and Latrell Mitchell. I don't think Tuolangi gets in. If you put Tuolangi in, then that means obviously... Sorry, Tuolangi. No, it's not Tuolangi. It is. No, it's Talangi, not Tuolangi. Are you talking about Murray Talangi? You put him to the wing and then you put Val Holmes in the centres. But I don't think that'll happen. I think they're going to push Val to the wing because we've got less depth on the wing than we do in the centres. Loring Ngingtao says, sorry if I mispronounced that, says, only weakness Aussie have is that it's a team of champs versus champion team. Idea short time together like Samoa got the Penrith boys and Tonga holding on to the Wolves plan. What, are you trying to say that Australia plays like individuals and not like a team? That's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. Australia has always played like a team. That's why they win the World Cup every time. It's crazy talk. I think that a lot of the time you're actually looking at Samoa and you're probably thinking maybe... unless you're saying what I'm saying here and I misread your comment and saying Samoa play like a team of individuals. Because Samoa have the opportunity to potentially play like a team of individuals in comparison to a team of guys who are, playing for as a collective. Which is what Australia do every time. I feel like I'm misreading your comment. Surely you're not saying Australia is the team of individuals. Ulwa says, Tonga need to get rid of Moses Sully. He hogs the ball too much and does not know how to tackle. Moses Sully can be one of the best players in the game in regards to sentence, but he has so many errors in him too. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right as well. And I don't think that he's going to get too much game time, like Michael says. Yeah, I think that Michael's spot on that he's not going to get too much of a go with Tonga. It's like if we go here, 1 second here, let me go and have a look at this Tonga team again here, predicted lineup. Hit that thumbs up button, guys, and subscribe if you're new around here. We might stick around for maybe another... how many people are still here? We've still got 103 people here. We've got 5 more likes to get to 100. We'll stick around for maybe another 15 or so minutes, and maybe we'll jump off. Tonga predicted lineup. Let's do this one again here. Tonga predicted lineup. That was for that game. How Tonga could line up with the Rugby League World Cup. Here we go. Yes, but they've got no Stags, so they've got Siasifa Talakai here. Who's the other centre that's going to be going in there? Because Stags is not going to be playing in that. Sorry, let me just go switch this one back over. Bang. So Will Hopper wide, fullback. Sione Katoa on one wing. It says Stags here, but he's not playing. Who's the other centre? I can't remember. Siasifa Talakai. Talakai is a tough one, man. Like, Talakai is a little bit overrated too. Daniel Tupou on the wing. Tuilala here, 6. Talatau 7. I think Asai Katoa should be the guy. Adam Fanor Blake and Asiata Takiaho. I think Saliva Havili should come off the bench at the 14. Back row, Kolomatangi and Felix Kafusi. There's no way you don't start Dave Fafita after his performance on the weekend. Jason Tamalolo 13. Obviously won't be there the first couple of games though. Tola Takwala on the 14. Tola Takwala is the other centre, isn't he? Is it Tola Takwala who played centre on the weekend? He'll get the centre over, what's his name? Over Moses Sully. Oh, Penasini. Yeah, one. Yeah, Penasini's one. Zeitgeist says, imagine the amount of HIAs this World Cup. I hope not, man. I don't want to imagine that. I don't want to see that. And also says, Nano might play when they verse Scotland. Maybe, actually. Yeah, because they're obviously going to rest players for that one. The guy says New Zealand couldn't find better centres than Chris and Higu. So, New Zealand's centres are the biggest worry out of the lot. But Chris had a very good game on the weekend, but it was against Leeds, obviously. But yeah, the centres are the weakest point of New Zealand. Yeah, absolutely. As sports, what about Cook with Hunt? Who would you rather in hook position? Mine is Hunt. So Damien Cook hasn't been selected. It's Cook. It's Hunt and Harry Grant. Cook is not going to the World Cup. And I think that it'll be Hunt who starts at 9 and Harry Grant with a 14, but Cook did not get selected. Gilmar email says, as a Dragons fan, Sully is a good player. He needs to work on his knock-ons, but he's a big body that can maybe play in the second row. Yeah, his defense is very lackluster, though. Jay Sam, what's his PNG? Oh, no, message retracted. Collar was playing wing. Collar was playing wing, but he's not obviously going to play the wing is what I'm saying. So I'm trying to think of who goes into the centre, considering Stags isn't there. Because Siasifa Talakai will play one centre. Who's the other centre? Oh, sorry, Penasini. We got to that point. It's good depth there to have, though, Takwala, but Collar is fast, but he's not exactly the most fantastic. Be interesting to see how Sione Katoa bounces back here from that bicep tear that we found out about the other night. I thought it was an ACL. One says, when your was Grant better than Hook? When your was Grant, I don't know what that means. Beers man says, because Pacific Islander players generally don't want to kick the ball and only do so as a last resort. Yeah, fair. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we'll go through another couple of questions here and then we'll jump off. But yeah, I think the weakest point for the Kiwis is their centres by far. When was Grant better than Cook? So Cook has had a really poor couple of years. The last 2 years has been really poor. Harry Grant has worked very well with the Queensland system, obviously interchanging with Ben Hunt. So they've got that pairing there. Because New South Wales tried to do it with Damien Cook and Abisai Korosau. It didn't work. It worked with Harry Grant and Ben Hunt. So and Mal Meninga is also the selector for Australia, and obviously is a Queenslander. Won the 8 years in a row with him and whatnot, and also is just a fantastic... he is a fantastic selector if you actually think that a lot of people think he's biased, but in the same sense, they're probably still going to win anyway. Point of the matter is that he has selected probably Harry Grant for that very reason. I don't think Harry Grant's had a very good last 2 years too, but I do think his last 2 years have been slightly better than Damien Cook's. Cookie is usually my favourite hooker in the game, but the last couple of years has been really down for me. Sierra says, who's the coach for Lebanon? I think it's Michael Cheika. Full-time leagues, Pacific Islanders want to kick the ball, but their genes don't allow it. One says, damn, I didn't even know. Thought Cook was still the best 9 in the comp. He was, but this last 2 years, he's really been down. Michael says, Tonga have the most damaging running forwards. I'd have Isaiah Katoa starting half to get them running. Yeah, I think we've all come to that agreement that we'd have Isaiah Katoa as the starting 7 there. But they're not. I reckon they'll still go with Telltale Moan. I really do that. I think they will. Christian Tavasu says, Vanamanu Brown is better than all. Vanamanu Brown's okay. I'm intrigued to see how it goes. Obviously, he's only fresh in the scene at the Tigers, West Tigers, and we haven't seen much from him yet. I would love to see him do something here, but yeah, I look forward to seeing what Manu Brown can do for that team. Uwada says 1 Will Wade, 2 Daniel Tupou, 5 Siana Katoa, Will Penasini and Kola in the centres. So you're not going with Siasifa Talakai in the centres. You're not going with Talakai in the centres. It's interesting, seeing as Talakai is still a very damaging ball runner, and if I don't think you can play Talakai Talkwala over Siasifa Talakai for me. Unless I'm missing something and Talakai's not playing. Dazan says, Brown, a Dogs legend. As Sports says, Mitchell times Burton came centre red hot. I don't think Burton's going to be in the centres. I think it's going to be Mitchell and Jack Whiten, or Mitchell. Yeah, it might be Burton, but Mitchell and Jack Whiten's what I would go with personally. I don't think Burton is better than Jack Whiten in the centres. I think Burton's only good if you want to utilise his kicking game, but in the same sense, we've got Nathan Cleary, you've got even Cameron Munster with his dinks. You've got enough kicking there, realistically. You do. And then you've got Ben Hunt's kicking game from the hooker. Harry Grant's got little dinks in him as well. I don't think they necessarily need it, but I understand why people might want Burton as well. Chev says, I thought Conrad Harrell's 40. Mate, he's not young anymore. I know Connie well from his days at the Titans. He's a great bloke. I love Connie. He's actually, I think, one of the first guys I interviewed on the channel. But yeah, he's definitely not a young pup anymore. Marcus says, you had to put Talakai in. Yeah, absolutely. Uwana says, yeah, I think if something to loop players like Korosau to get the forwards rolling, Tonga could be a real problem. Yeah, it will come down to this. It will come down to the halves and the hooker if they can get something really going there. Uwa says, no, I reckon Sifa should go back and play in the second row because he's stronger there. But why? Look at your second row. Why would you have Sifa Talakai in the back row? You've got Dave Fafita, Felice Kafusi, Keon Kolomatangi. You've also got Hamali Kawatu. He's not playing. Mo's the front row. Do they just not have Dave Fafita on the bench here? That's stupid. They don't even have Dave Fafita on the bench. This is a stupid app. This is stupid for them to not even have Dave Fafita on this team. But there's way too many forwards for you to consider putting Sisa Talakai into the back row. That's crazy. And all Stars Australia have very good 40-20 kickers. They do. Yeah, they really do. One says, don't listen to these guys. They don't watch the NRL. They only watch highlights. Well, I just don't understand why someone would say Talakai to go back to this back row. Like, he didn't have a fantastic season in the centres this year. He had that really good game against Manly and also the Warriors. But outside of that, yeah, he wasn't absolutely fantastic. Overall, though, he's still a better centre than Tola Takwala. He's still a better centre than Tola Takwala. Christian Tavasu says, Dave Fafita, laughing. What, the guy that scored 3 tries in the weekend? Lucas says, imagine Burton kicking to some of these lower tier nations. I know, it'd be terrifying. But then again, you've got Nathan Cleary. Guys, Burton is the follow-on from Nathan Cleary. Cleary is the originator of those big kicks. Just want to remind everyone. Man. Burton is the original... Nathan Cleary is the original of those real high spiral bombs. Burton learnt from Cleary when he was the Panthers. Just throwing that one out there. Zeke Guy says, Connie had a mad season in England with a premiership with St. Helens. Don't count him out. I don't mind Connie. I just don't... there's a reason why he wasn't selected to continue playing for the Titans, because he has a lot of drop balls in him. As Sport says, who is going to do the kick of the Aussies? Mine is Trell Mitt. So you've got Cleary, you've got Trell Mitt, you've got not Munster. Oh boy, not Munster. You've got, I think... No, Ben Hunt doesn't kick for the Dragons. It's Zach Lomax. Who else is there? You probably will go with Trell Mitt. Yeah, you probably will go Trell Mitt because you've either got Trell Mitt or you've got Nathan Cleary, but I probably would lean with Trell Mitt. All right, Christian. Michael says Australia, New Zealand, England, Tonga, Samoa, then everyone else is just a level or a few levels above them. I should actually go back to this so that people who are just tuning in can see what we did there. DeGoe says Burton doesn't have security guards. He got slapped by the big Dino. Johnson says Tonga going to beat all our pool team. Tonga should be the victors of Pool D. Also, do not forget, guys, as I said before, we've already previewed Pool A, Pool B, Pool C, Pool D a lot more in depth. This tonight has been more of a chat between myself and you guys, but if you actually go back the last 4 days, we posted went for about an hour Pool A review. Each individual team went for about 10, 15 minutes per team, and then we chat for like the last 10, 15. But then we did that for Pool A, Pool B, Pool C, Pool D on different videos, and the timestamps are there. So if you want more of an in-depth analysis on the teams and the lineups that they're going to be putting up there, I might do a live reaction to the team lineups this week, tomorrow, though, if they come out. Ooh, says, if Wolf does not start to have feet, I'm going to get mad, bro. It would be ridiculous. It really would be. Especially after the way he performed. If he didn't play as well as he did, I could see it, but he played unreal on Saturday night. Unreal. Laurie Ngingatau says, I meant in 13 debutants that Meninga chose this World Cup, still best team, but I meant as in a short term to gel since Tonga, New Zealand, Samoa players have played with each other for a while. The thing is, though, with the Australian team is that they're all very much in the NRL anyway. They all play in a league that is very similar at its core. And also, most of these guys play with each other in New Zealand and Queensland. In Queensland and New South Wales, right? So most of these guys, for example, let's go through the Australian team here. So you go, let's go get the Australian team up here. We'll go until 9 p.m. AEST. So we'll go 20 more minutes. Because it's been quite a good chat tonight. We'll go for 20 more minutes. Australia Rugby League predicted lineup. Christian says, today have feet ain't that playing anymore. Sorry. Okay, bro. Maybe you should go to ballet because you have no idea what you're talking about. Let's go here. Let's scroll down. And has it got the predicted lineup here? To see Australia's full squad of the Rugby World Cup. No, I want to see the predicted lineup here. World Cup best 17s. Here we go. So Michael says Fiji have beaten Samoa, so I wouldn't be too comfortable. Samoa have only proven themselves in the Rugby Nines. That's a big call, man, looking at their team. But I understand what you're saying as well. Thank you very much to Roman Rosario for the $10 redo donation. Says cheers for the live. No, I appreciate you, dude. You have a good one, man. Obviously, we're here every single day streaming live. We'll hopefully be here tomorrow night for the live stream reaction. But tomorrow, I've also got a video coming out at 5:30 p.m. that will have every single team one player to look out for. The one player you got to look out for this year. So definitely be keen for that one. But yeah, appreciate you, Roman Rosario, for the $10 redo donation. All right, so the spine here. So yeah, so Latrell Mitchell plays New South Wales. Valentine Holmes and Cameron Munster both plays Queensland. Tedesco plays alongside Latrell. You got Matt Burton, Jack White, New South Wales. Ben Hunt, Harry Grant, Queensland. They definitely play alongside each other. Campbell Graham, he doesn't really get selected for New South Wales, but in the same sense, plays alongside Rabbitoh's teammate Latrell Mitchell. Addo New South Wales, Murray Talangi, Queensland. You got the forwards here, Payne Haas injury, Junior Paulo, and Papali'i going obviously to Samoa. Zaya Yo, New South Wales, Karen Murray, New South Wales, Ruben Cotter, Patrick Harrigan, Queensland, Jake Dvojevic, New South Wales. That's the thing. All these guys are Origin players, so they're all very, and they all play with each other on a regular basis anyway, at their normal NRL teams. And like some people keep saying Nano's probably not going to play unless they utilise him in a lesser capacity when they're playing those easier teams. Jay Salmon says, please would you go through the PNG team? Lamb and the Pape combination will make big difference against Tonga. So Jay, like I said, man, we did our preview for PNG yesterday on the video. So go through and you can click on the PNG section. I've got timestamps. You can click on the PNG section and see what we're talking about there. Hayden Dwight says, I think it's time for Meninga to finally hang up DC's boots and let Cleary play. I think so too, but Cherry Evans also knows how to get it done in the big game still. He did it in Game 3 this year. I understand what you're saying though, and I agree with what you're saying. And because I think on this trajectory, Cleary could eventually become the best player ever. I've got Cameron Smith as the best player ever, but on this trajectory, I do have Nathan Cleary becoming the best player ever. MPSH's podcast says Jack White and ball playing look, can that work? Ball playing lock. Oh, Jack White's not getting lock. If anything, he goes to centre. And that's lucky if he gets to centre. Shev says, who do you think is the best player in the Titans? Irrelevant, really. But I'd say probably Tino. DeGoat says, still don't know how Talangi made the squad. I think they made the squad for depth, really. Because the wingers are there is less depth in the wingers and the centres. There is less depth in the wingers and centres. They needed to grab Talangi for that reason. Owana says, Ipape played for the Super League New South Wales Cup. Super League's New South Wales Cup. Gee whiz. DeGoat says, still don't know how that's right. You got Sips. Tarea says, would be great for a fairy tale. Are you talking about Cherry Evans still? Michael says, Samoa team has improved greatly, whereas Fiji have fallen a bit. No Saifidi brothers or RCG. So the big loss of Fiji, no RCG, no Daniel Saifidi, Jacob Saifidi, no Tarek Sims, no Ashton Sims, Corbin Sims. They've got quite a few players that would normally be there that aren't there this time around. They have regressed a little bit, and I hate to say that, but it really was obvious on the weekend. Really obvious on the weekend. But I want Fiji to do well, man. Suwali'i winning next World Cup for Australia. Well, he's playing for Samoa, so it depends on if he wants to play for Australia. But I don't necessarily know, because you could. There's going to be other wingers. Like Murray Talangi is going to be prime for then. You'll have guys like Jojo Fafita who'll be raring to go as well, but down that time. I don't know, there's a heap of guys. It's a long time between drinks. It's still only 3 years away, to be fair. It is only 3 years away, because this World Cup was meant to be last year. BS Man says, the Aussie 4-pack is made up of effort players. Yeah, it's going to be really good. Laurie says, did Samoa have a want game? Couldn't find it, bro. No, they didn't. So they didn't organise it, which is unfortunate. Would have loved to have seen it. Their want game was effectively that mid-season test against Cook Islands, which wasn't impressive by Samoa, but there was a lot of players out with New South Wales. Yeah, they didn't organise a game, unfortunately. So Michael says, you did Monty Teo wrong. What are you talking about? What's going on here? John says, when is Tonga playing? What day? Okay, well, we'll quickly go through the... hold on here. World Cup. We'll quickly go through... Rugby League World Cup. Go like this. I don't mean to put Australia there. Oh, they've actually got the games on here. Okay, well, they've just got the games on here. Okay, I can just look at it here. All right. So the Tonga game, the first game, will be a very big game against Papua New Guinea at 4:30 a.m. AEST. This is, so I'll be in Fiji when this is all on. So these times will change to like 6:30 or 7:30 a.m. But Tonga vs Papua New Guinea is at 4:30 a.m. on Wednesday next week. England Samoa was the first game at 11:30 p.m. this weekend on Saturday. Australia Fiji at 4:30 a.m. There is a day, I think it's Monday, where there's 3 games. Or what day? There's 3 games on one day. Those are 2 games. Tuesday is just 1 game. Tonga, Papua New Guinea. And there's one day where there's 3 games on. Here we go. Maybe this one. Oh, no, I don't know. I swear there was. Oh, this one here. Saturday, Sunday, twice. Yeah, there's 3 games here. Fiji, Italy, England, France, New Zealand, Jamaica. Owana says, did you see Lee pull out of the World Cup? He got replaced by... Axel Rawiri says, your Kiwis best 1 of 13. So I did a pool analysis of Pool C on Saturday, I think it was. So you can go and check that video out. There is a timestamp for when I spoke about New Zealand. Callum says, let's go Greece. You're a Muppet. Fesh Boy says, half of Samoa's team was still partying after the grand final. Yeah, absolutely. MPSHS podcast says, is England a threat to Australia and New Zealand for the World Cup? Well, as you can see here by our tier rankings, we have Australia and Kiwi as the champion contenders. All 3 of these teams here, you can interchange as much as you want, man. I really couldn't care less where you guys put them. But for me, I'm most excited about what Tonga can do. But I also think Samoa have a really good team. Just their halves worry me. And England is safe. These teams are probably not going to be winning, but they also can still be up in this section here. Fiji up there, and Lebanon also could go up there. And then all these teams I wouldn't be putting above Emerging Nation. None of these teams have an argument for above Emerging Nation. None of them. Not one of them has an argument for competitive and won't win. Marcus says, England dark horse, everyone running them off. They're not actually. A lot of people are starting to say they're actually good again, but England still have their worries. Axel Sashida Moreau will give that a watch. Appreciate you, man. Hayden White said, I think Samoa and maybe even Tonga are better challengers for Australia. You got to look at the conditions, man. You really do. You got to see the conditions are something that you got to be careful about. Hayden White said, full-time leagues, I would love to see Australia get knocked out in the semi-finals. I'd love to see you. Shush. Uwana says, am I the only one who doesn't rate Samoa's 4-pack besides Paulo and Papali? Yeah, I think that they're missing out on Moses Leota, but I do think that Samoa's 4-pack isn't as great as I thought it was going to be. Their backline's phenomenal, though. They've got a really good backline. Stephen Crichton, Brian To'o, Joe Suwali, Hamisa Tabuafido, and I can't remember their other centre, but yeah, they've got a good backline. Ura says, Tuilala here needs to go. He was shocking the weekend against France. His kicking was rubbish and his passing was even worse. As soon as Isaiah Katoa came on, he showed he deserved to start of him. I believe that Katoa, I said this in the weekend too, like I said, we live stream every game. I was live streaming that game. We had, I think, like 800 people on the chat at one stage. But yeah, we spoke about the fact that I thought Katoa was the guy they should be going with. Absolutely. Axel Warrior says, does Fiji still have a few boys to join their squad? If so, who? Yes, Api Sakorasau, Viliami Kikau, Micah Sivo, Sonia Tarova, and there's a couple others, yeah. It's sad that Regan Campbell-Gillard got selected for Australia so that he couldn't play for Fiji. That would have been really big for them to have that real solid forward there. It would have been really good. Like, they've got Viliami Kikau, but he would have been really, really good for them to have. They've got Tuikami Kamitha, who is obviously there. He did play on the weekend, but it's hard to use your forwards when you've got no halves, which is the issue. Koziao says Ireland and Lebanon. Well, I've got them here. I've got the two here. I think Ireland do beat Lebanon, though. I really do. I think Ireland can beat Lebanon. Not above Fiji. I think this could easily be like this too. But Lebanon could also be higher. But I'm just saying, Ireland have a shout of taking down Lebanon next week. I really do believe it. I want to see Lebanon win. But in the same sense, get around Jimmy Jolliffe and Luke Keary. Sivo Ravalawa, both of them will play. Both of them will be in the wings. MPSHS podcast, did Wayne Bennett coach England in the World Cup in 2017? If so, is he English? I don't know. He didn't coach the World Cup in 2017. No, he didn't. Get my wife something now says Australia turning into dark horse with everyone saying they're in trouble. Oh, it's crazy, bro. I said this at the beginning of this stream. Ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. People are starting to say that they are a dark horse, and so they're not even good at all. And it's just like, you are making Australia underrated, and it's wild. You can never go into a World Cup thinking Australia's underrated. They've won every World Cup bar one. Every World Cup bar one. This team here, England, T1 nation, never won. Samoa, never won. Tonga, never won. Kiwis won one time. Never won. 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 We'll never win. We'll never win. We'll never win. We'll never win. That's the thing. Like, people are starting to really underestimate Australia. Oh, who's better? Sivo or Ravalawa? Oh, Sivo, easy. Full-time league, is Reece Martin playing with the Kumals? Saw him playing against New Zealand with the Leeds? I don't think so. I don't think he was named in the team. Wana says Lolly had a bad game, but he was leading the Super League's version of the Dally M. I still have faith in him. Be interesting. Well, if he can play over there in England, it'll suit him the conditions. We'll go for 10 more minutes here, guys. Like I said, we'll only answer a few more questions here, then we'll jump off for now, and we will have a good video that comes out tomorrow at 5:30 about each individual team. All 16 teams, we will have which player to look out for in each team. Michael says, Lola here, great running game, but I think Tonga need playmakers to guide their pack around. I think I've had Lola here as an interview before. When I did Tonga vs Samoa back in, I think maybe 2017 or 18 at Campbelltown, I think I interviewed Tui Lola here. Dago says, Turova is good, but the Panthers are so stacked. Well, Turova at the Panthers is a backup player to Dylan Edwards, and will knock it over Dylan Edwards. But Torova could really make a name for himself in this World Cup. He made a name for himself in that mid-season test when they took on Papua New Guinea. They lost the game, but he ran for like 300 metres. He was incredible. Sonia Torova has absolutely every ability that he could really show out in this World Cup and get a contract somewhere else, because Torova looks like he could be a really good player. I don't think he's a good winger. I think he's a good fullback. But it comes down to how Fiji do work their magic in this World Cup, because they do have magic, man. They really can be a magical team, the old Fijians, when they get going. But it'll be interesting. Kobe Jolliffe says, do you think Mitchell Moses should have been picked for the Oz? No way. Not in any world. Ever. No way. Never. Never, never. He'll always get selected for Lebanon, and he's never getting selected over. We've already got an issue with Nathan Cleary and Cherry Evans. There's no way Mitchell Moses was going to get selected for Australia. He's no chance. No chance. That's not me shitting on Moses as a player, but he's not over Cleary or Cherry Evans. Uwa says, I feel bad for Cook Islands because all the NRL players want to go play for the Kiwis. Shows that they're for the money over heritage. Like, why would you want to play for a team that you know is going to get pumped, though? Like, that's my question. I understand passion and whatnot, but also you've got to think about the money for your family. Like, just remember, all these Islanders, half of their wages go to their family. Like, 100% goes, and then they get a portion of it. You've got to remember that. So, they go for the bigger money contract because it's better for them long term. Passion only gets you so far, man. You know, doing it for the pride of your country only gets you so far if you've got the pride of your country for somewhere else as well. You know what I'm saying? Michael says, Turova needs to start somewhere in the NRL. Crazy future for him? Possibly, yeah. He's a small fullback, though, and the game has really been going towards and catering towards those bigger fullbacks lately, like a Dylan Edwards, solid figure, Tommy Trebojevic, James Tedesco, Latrell Mitchell, those kind of solid fullbacks in comparison. Jaden Campbell's fighting his issues because he has such a good, unbelievable potential, Jaden Campbell, but it's his size that makes it worrying for him. Kobe Jolliffe says, what player from Paris should play in the World Cup for Oz? Well, Regan Campbell-Gillard is playing for Australia. That's about it, really. That's about it, because everyone else is pretty much playing for other nations. I think we're going to jump off it for now, guys. I think that... I will do one more. Jay says, comparing hooker for Comores and Tonga. What is your thoughts on that? I'm taking the hooker for Tonga. Saliva Havili. I'm taking Havili. Yeah, I'll take Havili there, bro. On the goes, next World Cup, Cook Islands will be up there with Tonga and Samoa. I doubt it. I think you're still probably a good 10, 15 years away, but in the same sense, I would love to see it. Cook Islands, it's up from here, man. They're an emerging nation for a reason, but I think they're still a little bit away from it. The World Cup in 3 years' time, it's going to be way too soon for them to be above, but maybe, give it about 10 years, give it 2 World Cups or so, and you'll start to really see some improvement, but not this next time round. I'd still say 10, 15 years away from seeing them being up there with those guys. Yeah, personally. But anyway, guys, like I said, I'm going to jump off for now. I appreciate you as usual. Obviously, we're here every day. We're going to be live streaming again probably tomorrow night, but we do have that video coming at 5:30. We're going to react to the team list as they come in. Like I said, absolutely smack that thumbs up button. It's been a big stream tonight for a Monday night, and just kind of chatting about our thoughts about the World Cup coming up. Do not forget, every single Rugby League World Cup game live here on the channel. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. So thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.